Welcome, Sam's World, to the DOB family. Part of the family now, man. Welcome to the dark side of BEASTwriter. We are back live on our Pick 6 at 6 live stream, and we are going to be talking about the mock draft. Now, it's funny, I look around the landscape around people we follow and mutually follow, and they're like, oh, I'm not going to release my mock draft yet. It's like, I wonder why. But you know what? Here's the deal. All right, here's the deal with my mock draft and how I formulate my analysis. It's very in-depth. Right. So if people are going to say, oh, let's trade down, who is that? What does that look like? What is that? What's the why behind the reasoning? Right. Just like what Coach McDaniel says, what GM Dave Ziegler say, you can talk about stuff all you want, but what's the why behind why things are done? Right. I think we know the what, but what's the why? Daniel Kim, I had a conversation with him late last night. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to talk to me. And look, I'm very, very blessed. Right. And I'm very, very blessed for the DLB family because it's always not about the quantity as it is the quality. Excuse me. So it's not about how many people that follow specifically somebody. It's the loyal following that you have and the type of people that follow you. So I appreciate each and every one of you. And that goes from everyone involved, DK, D Menace, my guy James, Jimmy, Jesse, Kevin, all you guys are doing a solid job. Thank you, The Nation Nightmare, for starting off this super chat. I appreciate it, man. And if I'm being 100,000% honest with you guys, I have not worked out in a long time. I was supposed to work out yesterday, right? After I ended the live stream, ended up talking to DK about the DOB family, right? And then there's certain things that are going on that behind the scenes that, I just don't need the necessary drama. So people are asking to collab with certain people. I want to do that, but then it has to be good for the DOB brand because we're all about the good vibes only. And secondly, I'm a beat writer, right? So I really got to protect that perspective, right? That insight. So I'm very, very cautious now. And I was with the 49ers as well. It's like, you got to pick and choose your spots, unfortunately. But then again, it makes sense, right? We got to protect the DOB brand. So people are asking me last night when I asked for you guys' feedback on some collabs and to work with people. And so like, yeah, I'm open to doing it. It just has to be the right fit for the DOB, right? There's a certain niche for certain YouTubers or influencers or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, I kind of want to bring a different vibe to the table. Like what separates me from everybody out there, right? One, I'm a beat writer. That's credibility in itself. Two, because I'm there Monday through Friday at Raiders headquarters asking the questions, and then you guys hear it on the radio and also hear it by other people talking about the questions I'm asking on this day-to-day basis. Also, I'm up in the press box and on the field, right? Running game film and everything in between, watching the game. So it's a different perspective in that aspect. So I think I'm going to focus more on that because I know the DLB is going to grow because I provide the content, right? I'm the one that provides the value and the flavor, right? You guys are the one that are my army, right? You guys are the one that's my hype man, right? Because I'm my own hype man. But then again, in order for us to build the DLB family, and we are going to start a campaign, it's called Road to 10K. All right, when we start this Road to 10K, I am running a huge giveaway, huge milestone giveaway. And I'm talking probably like a $500, $1,000 giveaway. Like, we're talking about racks on racks on racks. And again, I did it with the Niners. It's not a secret. It's very well known what I do. Always giving back. I was looking back through my timeline around this time, and stuff pops up on your Facebook memory. Who goes on Facebook? No one goes on Facebook, but I do, because I have to keep in touch with my social media fans on Facebook and all these other platforms. And on this day, you know, pops up, right? Memories or whatever. And then you click on the memories and you're like, man, I was a lot skinnier back then, or I was a lot fatter back then, or I was this or that, right? And then I'm looking and I remember there's pictures that just kind of brings me back home to where I started, going back with the San Francisco 49ers and how I got big and became the biggest blogger and named top area blogger by NBC Bay Area News back in 2013, and then became a beat writer shortly thereafter. It's one of those things where you look at it and you're saying, wow, because I did it by myself. I didn't have the help of anyone. And the challenge for me is, can I do the reverse startup? Because I'm not just going to like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to the Las Vegas Raiders. And I love that. So the challenge is like, okay, I did it with one team. Can I go to a rival? Forget another team. Just go to a different rival and then cover that team. And I love it. I love it. Not going back. I am not going back. But thank you, The Nation Nightmare, for the super sticker. I really, really appreciate it. Just heads up. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm sweating right now because it is hot here in Las Vegas. There's 38 of you guys watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what I have to say. Check out the community page. So I obviously follow other YouTubers, right? Like I'm not a hater. I like supporting other YouTubers. I like the videos. Leave comments, right? And one of the comments, if you check out the community page, one guy said, "Oh, you're hearing stuff, huh?" He's like, "You're just like the rest of us and just hearing stuff from the internet and posting it." Like, okay, dude. First of all, I'm the one that's reporting that information. The person you're probably following is the one that's copying me. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Anyways, write this down. We're going to talk about the freaking mock draft. And you know who's going to piggyback on my analysis. You already know. Too bad. And the DOB got my back. Onto Six Soldier has my back. DK has my back. D Menace has my back. Saints World now has my back. Right? Kevin Lurker has my back. What's Up G has my back. So we're all in this together, man. Boosting with Me says, what website did you get that from? Yeah, where did you get that information from? You're just regurgitating information. Write that down. I'm pretty sure. And then I go, I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm just like everyone else. I'm pretty sure. You know what I mean? Like, you're challenging my credibility. And you don't even know who I am. Because let's face it, in today's age of information on YouTube or on Facebook or on any social media platform, Instagram, doesn't matter. People pretend they're there, so they think that they're there. And then the people who actually are there aren't credible. No, it's the other way around. That's why I'm going to shoot videos. And I did it with the Niners because people got upset. And B-Rad's like, you know what? We got to come together. So I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to do this. Every time I go to work, I'm going to post up who's there. Why? Because we're there. On Thursday, I will be at Raiders headquarters. I'll be talking to Dave Ziegler and Coach McDaniels. I'll be the one asking the freaking questions along with the other beat writers. But no, people all want to do it from their home and act like they're there. You're not there. Stop. Everyone can have an opinion, but don't act like you're there when you're not. And then don't downplay someone's rise and grind because they're the ones that are posting the analysis and you're just piggybacking on that analysis. Come on. Rafael Martinez says, got your back, big dog. That's what I like to hear, man. That's what I like to hear. All right. So let's get down to business, bro. All right. Let's get down to business. We're going to get down to business. All right. And we're just going to talk and keep it 100 here in the DOB because we don't play in games here. All right. So in the headline, what I say, could the Raiders trade back with an NFC team? Not an AFC team, right? It could be an AFC team, but an NFC team, right? And what does that look like? Because again, everyone says, oh, the Raiders are going to trade down. I said this back on January 11th. Cool story, bro. Who are they going to trade down with? What's the cluster look like? Who's the player evaluation versus evaluation that they're looking for in that cluster based on the projected mock drafts of how other GMs and tendency biases work in round one? What are the needs after free agency resets the market? How does that look like? I mean, you're talking about different layers of the onion to really get to the core, different parameters to look for to say, hey, this guy's going to this pick, this guy's going here, this guy's going there. And I'm not going to get every single pick right. That is ridiculous. But again, the Beast receipts check out more times than not. Listen, I'm the first one to report this, all right, and breaking it down in layman terms, right, and breaking it down layer by layer. This is what's going to happen, and I'm going to peel back layers of the onion right now. And if anybody else steals this, now call them out. All right, this is what's going to happen. The Raiders sitting there at number 7 is going to have Jalen Carter there on the board based on my current mock draft. Jalen Carter will be sitting there. People have Jalen Carter going to number 5 to the Seattle Seahawks. Peter King has him going to the Seattle Seahawks. A few other people that I follow in my mock draft because I like to compare against the best. Mel Kiper has him going to the Seattle Seahawks at 5. Todd McShay has him going to the Seattle Seahawks at 5, right? Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network has them going to the Seattle Seahawks at 5, right? Bookie Brooks has them going to the Seattle Seahawks at 5. Lance Zierlein has them going to the Seattle Seahawks at 5, right? Matt Miller, formerly of Bleacher Report, now ESPN, who I used to work for Bleacher Report, now has them at number 5. Not here in the DOB, and I'm going to tell you why. Not here in the DOB, and I'm going to tell you why. Hit this like button if you like what I have to say. I am heated right now. There's 50. I'm really not heated. I'm excited right now. There's 50 of you guys watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what I have to say. We're going to kick off this video in style. It's talking about Jalen Carter. He's going to be there at number 7. Now watch me be wrong. But it was a tough decision, right? And I spend on every single pick, aside from game film, breaking down, since covering the draft since 1998, mocking draft since 2007, the dynamics, where GMs are coming from too, right? You can't just say this GM makes these picks. What tree does he come from? GM Tom Telesco comes from the Bill Polian and Ryan Gregson tree, right? Where does Rand Carthon come from? The vice president of player personnel, former 49ers, now the new GM, taking over for John Robinson with the Tennessee Titans. Where did these guys come? Martin Mayhew, obviously, from the San Francisco 49ers, which they brought in offensive guard Laken Tomlinson to protect who? Jimmy Garoppolo with the San Francisco 49ers, former first-round pick, drafted him. All right? So there's different layers here. No one can have this analysis. You have to have the why behind why you say trade down. We're going to get into details. Look, number 1, you guys want my mock draft? Here it is. I'm just going to give it to you because I'm freaking heated right now. And we're just going to talk about the mock draft. And now people are going to be, oh, man, yeah, Bryce Young going 1. Yeah, no crap. Bryce Young is going 1. All right? There's no surprise there. Bryce Young's going 1. You don't trade up all that draft capital to go after a CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson, or for that matter, a Will Levis. You take the best player available at number 1. That's a signal caller, and that is Bryce Young. So Bryce Young is going to the Carolina Panthers at 1. Sitting there at number 2, again, covered DeMeco Ryans with the San Francisco 49ers. What did the last time he do at number 2? This guy by the name of Nick Bosa, right? In that wide 9 scheme. People are going to look at this and laugh. People are going to look at this and laugh and be like, dude, you have no idea what. All right, let's see if the Beast receipts check out, right? Let's see if the Beast receipts freaking check out. Thank you so much, DK says, bring it, Beast Raiders. This mock draft is going to be fire because I'm going to break it down, dude. Like, I got no sleep. No sleep. All right? Check this out. Will Anderson is going to go number 2. And now, the logical thinking of this is, no, GM Nick Caserio is going to take a quarterback at number 2. But GM Nick Caserio comes from the Bill Belichick tree, which means he's not going to reach for a quarterback. What does he look for in a quarterback? What does Bill Belichick look for in a quarterback? When he drafted Jimmy Garoppolo, drafted Mac Jones, you have to be able to do what? Manage the football game. Game managers gets a negative connotation, and it shouldn't. It's a positive thing because that means you can manage the game based on the scheme fit for that team. This is probably where the draft is going to start at 2. All right. Now, could the Indianapolis Colts move from 4 to 2 and draft Will Levis? Everyone's tying Will Levis to the Indianapolis Colts. For now, I am making the pick. Now, things can change tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be my final mock draft. But as it stands today, I am saying Will Anderson's going number 2 to the Houston Texans. Because if you're GM Nick Caserio, you're taking the best player available. It's not Jalen Carter, in my opinion. It is Will Anderson. It is Will Anderson. Started as a true freshman back in 2020. You know what he brings to the table. Come on. He's the next Von Miller. He's the best edge rusher since Derek Thomas at Alabama. Come on. Someone talk to me. Let's preach. Oh, but you're an Alabama fan? Yeah, I'm talking to Derek Thomas right now. All right. So that's what I have happening right now. So that leaves CJ Stroud still on the board at 3. What happens? What happens at pick number 3? If you like what I have to say, there's 60 of us watching. I mean, look, there's 60 of us freaking watching right now. Give this. You guys know how people who don't even follow me are following this because they know I bring the heat. Thank you so much, G Money. He says, oh my God, it's happening. Check this out. This is probably going to be the most fired video of all time here in the DOB. It always is. For my mock drafts, everybody watches it. Even the scouts watch this. How do I know? Because I know. I'm friends with a lot of them. They actually use my mock draft. Whoa, surprise, surprise. At number 3, check this out. This is the blockbuster deal I am going to be talking about that no one is talking about. No one on the internet is talking about this. Everyone's talking about, okay, the Tennessee Titans are going to move up to 3. What does that look like? National media, what does that look like? Local media, what does that look like? I'm going to break it down. Rand Carthon, back in 2021, traded for Trey Lance. He gave up 3 first-round picks along with other draft capital in order to move up to the Miami Dolphins at 3. Check the beast receipts on the Miami Dolphins at 3. Who reported that the Miami Dolphins were going to trade number 3? And they did. And people thought I was crazy. Go back. I'll repost the video. I predicted the Miami Dolphins to trade number 3. No one else, not national media, not local media, said it would happen. Check the beast receipts. Rand Carthon's going to change the game in 2022. Oh, sorry, 2023. He's going to now, what he's going to do, he's going to trade from 11, move up to number 3. But what does that look like with the Arizona Cardinals and Monty Ossenfort, who has so many different needs? Well, that's why he's going to trade out, because he has Kyler Murray as his quarterback. And what I'm hearing is he desperately wants to trade. And if you guys know, I'm very good with the Arizona Cardinals draft strategy. Now that Monty Ossenfort's in, we're going to kind of see if that changes that dynamic. But I'm very good on selecting Arizona Cardinals players. Beast receipts check out. Isaiah Simmons, Zaven Collins, Kyler Murray. All right, so here we go. All right, so if you look at what that looks like, what does that look like? The Tennessee Titans and the Arizona Cardinals trade look like? Well, if you remember, right, Derrick Henry, is he going to be on the roster with the Tennessee Titans after next year? I mean, I don't know. Or could you trade him? What does that look like, right? Here's my proposed deal. And it makes sense because Ryan Carthon from the 49ers now going to the Tennessee Titans needs a quarterback. This is something that, again, my mock draft is not based on what I would do if I was making the pick. It's how I see it actually playing out. All right. The Cardinals get the number 11 pick. So they move back from 3 to 11. All right. They also get Derrick Henry and a future 2024 first round pick. Now, you may be looking at this and be like, damn, that's a lot of capital to move from 3 to 11. Look at the analytics. What do they tell you? What did Rand Carthon give up for Trey Lance, who is possibly now on the trading block? Multiple round 1 picks and draft capital. Lightning strikes twice. He's going to trade up to number 3, and in return, he gets the number 3 overall pick, okay? And DeAndre Hopkins, because DeAndre Hopkins wants out of Arizona, and he needs a wide receiver because A.J. Brown is now with the Philadelphia Eagles and GM Howie Roseman. Someone talk to me. They have Treylon Burks, but come on. Talk to me. Write this down. Write this down. Write this down. Write this down. Right? Kelly Joseph, thank you so much for the super sticker and super chat. Appreciate it, my guy. This is a fire show. We have 67 people watching right now. People loving this stuff. And probably my haters are watching this so they can regurgitate the content and then pass it off as their own and say, oh, yeah, you know what? Derrick Henry is going to get traded. Blockbuster deal with DeAndre Hopkins. You heard it here first in the DOB. All right. So now what happens? Sitting there on the clock, the Tennessee Titans now have the 3rd pick. What do they go from here? If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. There's 66 of you guys watching right now. It really pushes the algorithm, and that is free 99. Also, if you want to donate to the channel, you guys can send me a super chat and super sticker. If you like my mock draft analysis, up to this point, we're only on pick number 3. I'm telling you, I'm bringing the heat today, guys. But you already know. You already know. All right. They're going to do something that's really crazy. Once this trade is made, Rand Carthon's going to be sitting there and everyone's thinking he's going to take CJ Stroud. It's got to be CJ Stroud, right? It's got to be CJ Stroud. Second best quarterback, hands down. Not even a question for me, but it's not what I would do. It's not what I would do. It's what I actually see Rand Carthon doing in real time. Rand Carthon, is going to take a risk on Anthony Richardson's NFL traits. He is going to take Anthony Richardson at 3, give up all that draft capital for Anthony Richardson. Why? Because he's afraid that the Indianapolis Colts, because there's smoke that it might be Will Levis, there's smoke there. Or potentially the Las Vegas Raiders, potentially, right? Because people are bringing it up. Well, it's not happening, but I'm just saying. He doesn't know what to believe and what not to believe. He wants to secure the player that he wants, but he knows he's not going to matter 11. So he's going to trade up to number 3, get Anthony Richardson. Why? He played at where? Florida. Where did Rand Carthon go to school at? I believe he went to Florida. Right? So I have Anthony Richardson at 3. All right. Sitting there at number 4, GM Chris Ballard of the Indianapolis Colts is looking at this and be like, oh my gosh, they took Anthony Richardson. What are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? GM Chris Ballard sitting there. And I saw Chris Ballard up in the press box when the Colts played the Raiders here at Legion Stadium. I walked by him. I think he's a top 10 GM. But anyways, what is GM Chris Ballard going to do? He has his choice of CJ Stroud and Will Levis right now. My thinking is, again, I would take CJ Stroud because to me, if you need a quarterback, he's the second best quarterback in this entire draft class. It's not even a question for me. Anthony Richardson is too inconsistent. He can't make accurate throws. He has the highest ceiling. Okay, cool story. How many years have we heard a quarterback? Trey Lance had the highest ceiling. How's that going for them? I mean, every year, Jamarcus Russell had a high ceiling. How's that going? Come on. He can throw 70 yards from his knees, though. That's cool. And he gave him a horse. GM Chris Ballard, this is what he's going to do. He's going to take a risk on Will Levis because he liked his back shot. For the bodybuilding physique aspect, he loves his back shot. He's like, man, this guy's eating a lot of protein shakes. He just gets football. He looks lean and dry. He's probably on some diuretics right now. I mean, this guy looks lean, mean, and he looks like he can step on stage with Beast and compete in national men's physique right here in Vegas and then step on the stage at Olympia. I like how he's in the pro style offense. He's going to take a risk on Will Levis at number 4. I'm hearing at Indy that's a very, very possibility, even if CJ Stroud's on the board. Now, watch me be wrong. Again, my final mock draft is going to come out tomorrow, but as of today, I see Will Levis going to number 4 to Indianapolis Colts. So CJ Stroud's still on the board, guys, and so is Jalen Carter. At number 5, we have the Seattle Seahawks, the Legion of Boom, formerly the Legion of Boom. What's going to happen at number 5? There's 70 of you, we're up to 70 now. There's 70 of you guys watching right now. Pretty sure a lot of you guys aren't even following me. So hit the subscribe button and like the video if you like what I have to say. Also, I'm telling you guys right now is the time to be texting your friends right now on your phone and be like, hey, you need to follow BEASTwriter right now because he's spitting some game that no one else will know. At number 5, everyone has Jalen Carter at number 5. But what happens? Let's look at the pro personnel department. The pro personnel department is going to be like, oh, man, that's great. We can get Jalen Carter. But then the director of college scouting is going to be like, yeah, I mean, he's good, man. He's best player available. And then pro player personnel is like, oh, yeah, we can get him. But didn't we just sign Draymond Jones to a $51 million contract? Didn't we just sign Jaron Reed? to a $12 million 2-year contract? Didn't we just have our 34 base defensive ends in the 4 technique playing a 2 gap already set? So was that going to see where I'm going with this? You can't provide this analysis. What's the why behind why? Right? There's different layers to this. Why? Why should we take Jalen Carter? What about his off-field things? Oh, well, what I've been told is, the Seattle Seahawks have a separate player engagement personnel dedicated to players like Jalen Carter because, he's been in some trouble, pleaded no contest to speeding, reckless driving that ended up someone getting killed, lied about it. But we can work with that. The Seattle Seahawks can make Jalen Carter their pick. I don't think it's a good pick because of what they did in the pro player personnel department, bringing in Jarran Reed and Draymond Jones. Further, you don't pay a guy 2-year, $12 million to ride the pine as a backup. And Jarran Reed can't streak inside to a 0 technique anyways. Same things with Draymond Jones. They're too small. You can't play a 0. You can play a 4. You can't play a 0. You're going to have and spend your 5th overall pick on the 0 technique nose tackle. Because obviously, Jalen Carter can play that, but he's more well-versed if he was in the odd man front to be a 3-4 defensive end as a 4 tech. Because that's what Clint Hurt runs, right? That's what the DC runs, a 3-4. Furthermore, let's peel back another layer of this. GM John Schneider is going to be laughing and being like, yeah, man, Jalen Carter's the real deal. It's a no-brainer. And then some of his scouts will be like, yeah, but who's rising up the draft board? And again, I'm not as high on Tyree Wilson as other people. But you're going to look at this and be like, oh, we like his 36 arm length. We love that. We love the arm length, the 3-foot arms. We like the intangibles he brings to the table. You can't coach height, weight, speed. He gets it. Comes from Texas Tech, the same college that who came out of it? Jordan Brooks, who was drafted by who? The Seattle Seahawks in the 1st round. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was drafted number 27 overall. Correct me if I'm wrong. All right. So again, what conference is that? The Big 12, right? The Big 12. Let me write this down. Furthermore, since becoming the GM of the Seattle Seahawks, 6 of the 9 first-round draft picks. Should I say it? This would be 6 of the first 9 draft picks, right? If Tyree Wilson is drafted, that came out of the Big 12 by GM John Schneider since 2010. Russell Okung came out of Oklahoma State. Earl Thomas came out of Texas, right? And that's the year they had 2 first-round draft picks. You guys remember this? Come on, someone talk to me. Got to peel back layers. And then they went after a guy by the name of Bruce Irvin, who was a reach. He got in trouble for disorderly conduct, burglary, all kinds of crap. But they still drafted him at number 15. That was a reach coming out of the Big 12 at the time, West Virginia. All right. Then they went after TCU, LJ Collier, and number 29 overall at a Texas TCU, and then obviously Jordan Brooks at a Texas Tech. Tyree Wilson, to me, again, it's not what I would do. It's what I see happen in real time. I think they're going to take a risk, and they do every year. They always reach for need. I mean, look, forget the Big 12 players I just talked about. All right? Look, they reached for Jermaine Ifedi. You guys remember him? The Texas A&M offensive tackle. I was like, man, he has slow feet. Slow feet don't eat. Slow feet don't eat. They have a tendency to reach in the first round. They do horrible in the first round. I like GM John Schneider, right? Think he's one of the top GMs overall, but come on. I think it's smoke. He was at all the pro days of the quarterbacks, right? He could take CJ Stroud right here. He's still available. He's going to opt for Tyree Wilson. Texas Tech. And let me write this down. If you like what I have to say, there is 73 of you guys watching. We have a lot of people watching right now. And if you'd like to support through a super sticker or super chat, do me a solid. Also, if you want, do this for free. Give this video a thumbs up. That is free. That is free 99. All right. Riley Simmons says, Beast, I can't imagine Carter falls like Sapp did. 3-tech like that only come around so often. That is very true. That is very true. I am all aboard with that. Jack Hennon says, Trey Lance is worth a water bottle. Autistic Soldier says, let me write that down. Look, JP Edward de Dios knows how I do with the Arizona Cardinals. He's an Arizona Cardinals fan. He knows that's why he follows me. The Beast Receipts check out for the Arizona Cardinals of all teams. Go figure. Cover all 32, right? A Visionary says, Beast, you are the GOAT. Raider Nation is lucky to have you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Really, really means a lot. But yeah, this is how I see it playing out. And people are going to be like, oh yeah, you know what trade I can see the Tennessee Titans and Arizona Cardinals making with Monty Austin and Rand Carthon because they did it back in 2021. Oh yeah, makes sense, right? Makes sense. Someone talk to me. All right, so sitting there at number 5, I have him taking Tyree Wilson. Jalen Carter still on the board, number 6 with the Detroit Lions, and Brad Holmes. What is he going to do? What is Brad Holmes going to do? Brad Holmes going to look at this and be like, damn, we could get Jalen Carter, but do we need him? I don't know, man. We just recently invested 2 years ago on Alan McNeil and Levi how do you say his last name? Unzareki? 2 defensive tackle, man. 2 defensive tackles. Do we want to invest another defensive tackle, even though it's BPA? Because it's not a need. It's not a need, right? Or do we take cornerback Devin Witherspoon because we know the Las Vegas Raiders are going to take him if he's on the board? And you're looking at this and you'd be like, oh, man, pro player personnel guy is going to be like, you know what? We signed Cam Sutton to be a boundary starting cornerback because he came from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Beast covered him with the Steelers. And he also covered the San Francisco 49ers with Emmanuel Mosley. He started too, played really well. But yeah, Devin Witherspoon's there. Brad Holmes will be like, Director of College Scouting is going to be like, hey, man, we ran a lot of film on Devin Witherspoon, man. He played a lot of cover 1, 75% of the time, held his own. I mean, just turn on the film, just flip on the film. And pull up personnel going to be like, yeah, you're right. Like, yeah, he's probably a little bit better, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more upside than Emmanuel Mosley and Cam Sutton, those Tennessee products, yeah. And he's going to look at this and be like, Brad Holmes will be like, okay, man, we're sitting in the war room now. Okay, we're on the clock, man. What are we going to do? Do we take Devin Witherspoon? The answer is yes. They take the top quarterback on my board and take Devin Witherspoon at number 6. So then you see the Raiders, right? The Raiders going to be like, oh, crap. Jim Daisy will be like, gosh, dang it. They took Devin Witherspoon. So then they'll go on the board. All right, so now we're going to talk about the horizontal versus the vertical board. All right, so we're sitting in the war room, right? Again, there's 70 of you guys watching this. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up. Darnell Sanders says, great analysis. Jima says, +1 to Visionary. We are lucky to have this guy. Thank you so much, man. And again, the DLB family is all about the dark side vibes, man. I bring a different flavor. Look, people can mock my, no pun intended, but they can mock my Beast Receipts, but the Beast Receipts check out. That's why they're called Beast Receipts. That's why I'm not afraid to put my analysis up in real time and cross-check that in hindsight and then call myself out. Both ways. Look, I suck at quarterback evaluation. I said TJ Stroud is the second best quarterback in this draft class. You know what's going to happen? Will Levis, who is my 4th ranked best quarterback in this draft class. Actually, no, I put him ahead. Him and Anthony Richardson, or whatever. Pick your poison. Those guys can end up being a Hall of Famer. Watch me be wrong. Will Levis is going to be the next Peyton Manning. Anthony Richardson is going to be the next Pat Mahomes. But yeah, let's just get down to it. All right. At number 7, GM Dave Ziegler, and there's 80 of us watching right now. There's 80 people watching this right now. That's crazy, right? How did it go from like 40, 50, 60 to 80? This is going to top at 100 concurrent viewers, I guarantee you. And I didn't even post this on Twitter, by the way. I didn't post this on Twitter. I forgot to do it. Maybe I should do it. I told people, follow me on Twitter. Follow me on YouTube on Twitter. So it's up to you. I'm going to answer some Twitter questions as well and YouTube, because I know some of you guys watch it on your TV. You guys live stream this on your TV. So I know What's Up G does it. I know a few of you other guys do it. I know my guy Harry Ruiz does it. So we're going to talk about it. All right. So let's just put this in perspective, right? What does it look like when all those players are off the board and the Raiders are sitting there with Jalen Carter and CJ Stroud sitting there? Both these guys should have went in the top 5, right? If you're looking at the board, both these guys should have went in the top 5. But GM Dave Ziegler is probably going to look at this with Brandon Yergin and Dewan Daniels and Sean Herock. If you guys don't know, he's been there forever, right? He's like the senior personnel advisor or something like that. His role was with the Reggie McKenzie days. Who else is there? Jalen Morris. Who else is there? I'm trying to reach everyone here. Ben Chester, right? An area scout. Lenny McGill, right? Who else is there? Andy Dengler, right? All these guys. You got to do research, right? You got to know your stuff. Like, don't just talk about the GM Jay Ziegler, of course. Head honcho, of course. The man behind the mission. But there's a lot of different layers to this, right? Because all these guys play a role, right? The area scouts play a role. Kyle Caballero, I think that's his name, plays a role. All these guys play a role, and they do a really, really good job. So my hat's off to them. I would bet no beat writer on their respective team that they cover can regurgitate the scouting department like I just did. This is why you follow me. You can't just plug and play on the vertical board. It doesn't make sense. You have to know the dynamics of the other 32. All right. Sitting there at number 7 in the war room, GM Jay Ziegler's going, okay, man, Devin Williams was off the board. What does that cluster look that Beast talked about? He's really not going to say that. Or he might. I don't know. Probably not. I'm joking here. Okay. But let's just think like GM Jay Ziegler for a little bit. Sitting there at number 7, do we take Jalen Carter? Can we deal with his we had him in for a pre-draft visit. Can we deal with the off-field stuff? Is it worth the risk? What's the return on the investment versus the valuation versus evaluation? Because as we know, what does the Raider way look like? I can tell you right now, character does play a role in the community, of course, here in Vegas. Absolutely. The Raiders do so much here in the community that goes unnoticed. And trust me on this. I get goosebumps because I get the media releases. They do a lot for the community. You see Max Crosby, you see Devontae Adams has his camp. Max Crosby goes out and reads to kids on his off time. A lot of the Raiders, they do a lot of community service that goes unnoticed. They donate backpacks. They do that. I mean, there's so many things that they do here in the Las Vegas community. If you're trying to make an NFL team, you would want to do everything that you can to have a clean slate, right? To like not have any red flags whatsoever. Because the moment you have a red flag for me, and if this is truly the Raider way, it will be very difficult to take a Jalen Carter, because at the very last second, you're going to question yourself that pick, because at any given moment, you're going to wonder, is he going to drive 1,000 miles per hour out down Raider way? We all know that players do it, right? You know, players, people, random citizens. I mean, it's a straight shot. They do it. I do it sometimes, if I'm late to work. So it's like, it's not saying it doesn't happen. I don't go 100 miles per hour or anything like that. Maybe go like 45 into 55. But no, to answer, I've been talking about this all along. They don't call it Sin City for nothing, right? There's a lot of temptation. How do you handle the temptation in Las Vegas is a different beast. And it's easy for me to say because I'm approaching 40, because I'm mature at my age. But I can tell you, when I was 21, 22, 23, I did a lot of dumb crap. All of us did. But it's all part of the growing process. At the end of the day, I also was a millionaire. That comes with a lot of other issues. So I'm not saying that Jalen Carter would be a bad pick for the Las Vegas Raiders. I would be 50-50, right? Because I was like, okay, it makes sense. We got Jalen Carter. We needed a defensive tackle, right? The defense needs help. He's the best player available on their board. No question about it. So I wouldn't criticize the pick. I would actually be 50-50, right, on that pick. But then when you look at it, and let's say Jalen Carter and CJ Stroud both on the board, what's going to happen? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. This is where it gets really crazy, all right? Sitting there at number 7, there's 83 of you guys watching right now, 84. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what I have to say. Smash that like button. That is free. Also, if you want to donate through a super chat or a super sticker, you guys can do that as well. Austin Martinez says, I am so behind, but everything you're saying back here is making crazy sense. All right. So sitting there with CJ Stroud and Jalen Carter on the board, you know what's going to happen? The NFC trade that this title is headlined at. You see, I can't talk about the NFC trade that the Raiders are going to make with this NFC team without laying down the foundation of the why on the other 32. Someone talk to me. Someone talk to me. So this is how I see it playing out, right? GM Howie Roseman loves building from teams from the inside out, not the outside in. Who is Howie Roseman? He's the Philadelphia Eagles general freaking manager. Right. And people are wondering why I talk a lot about GM Howie. I think he's very well respected in NFL circles. I know I respect him. I think he does a really good job in building his team. And he's very, very smart and calculated in the return on his investment when he makes such deals and trades. Right. And so when you look at that, and I covered Howie Roseman again, I've been covering the draft since 1998, mocking since 2007. And you look at what Howie Roseman does, right? And you can't just plug and play. People make these stupid, and I call them stupid because they're dumb. You cannot plug and play trades without knowing the analytics on the valuation of that trade based on the GM's tendencies. Like, you can't be like, oh yeah, I traded down from 7 to 10 and I got a second round pick and a first round pick. No, Howie Roseman's not going to do that, bro. Or I'm going to trade down from 7 to 13 or 14, and I'm going to get multiple first-round picks. Like, who does that? What? What are we doing? What are we doing? It's just like, am I missing something here? Like, am I missing something here? Right? Let's look at it for what it really is. All right. GM Howie Roseman values his defensive tackles. All right. What did GM Howie Roseman do back in 2012 when he needed a defensive tackle? He went up, he moved up 3 spots to number 12. Philadelphia gave up number 15, right? So they hold number 15, move up to number 12, gave up a 4th round pick, number 114, a 6th round pick, number 172 to the Seattle Seahawks for the draft rights to go ahead and select Fletcher Cox. You look at the valuation versus evaluation on GM Howie Roseman and how he likes to leverage that draft capital, moving up 3 spots from 15 to 12. You would know it's not a first and a second. Because if a first and a second was worth moving up from 10 to 7, then otherwise, why would you move back, or why would you move up from 15 to 12 and only give up a 4 and a 6 while swapping first round picks? Doesn't make sense. See, the analytics tell you something. The best predictor of future behavior is delving into the past. If you don't know how to do that, then you shouldn't be in the game in the first place. Now, fast forward 10 years later, what did he do? GM Howie Roseman went ahead and, if I'm not mistaken, guys, let me write this down, moved up 2 spots to number 13 from number 15 to draft who? Jordan Davis out of where? Georgia. What does that look like? What does that look like for him to move up 2 spots? He gave up the 15th overall pick, another 4th round pick, and a 5th round pick, and another 5th round pick. So you're looking at 162, 166 in the 5th round, 124 in the 4th round, and the 1st round pick. So again, you can't say that Howie Roseman, you can't move down from 7 to 10 and think that Howie Roseman is going to end up giving GM Jay Ziegler a 1st round pick and a 2nd round pick. It doesn't make it sense. Like, there is no way, unless, now again, watch it happen. The Beast Receipt's not going to check out. I don't see it happening. It could. I don't see it happening. But I do see this deal being made with GM Howie Roseman. Why? Because he wants Jalen Carter. He wants Jalen Carter because he knows that Fletcher Cox signed a 1-year deal. And, oh my gosh, you have 3 of the top 4 defensive front 7 players on that vaunting Georgia defense from 2021. Nakobe Dean, my guy. my friend, my boy. Literally. You have who? Oh my gosh, you have Jordan Davis. Oh my gosh, you also have who? Jalen freaking Carter. You don't think that GM Howie Roseman would not invest to move up into the first round? So what does that look like? I think GM Dave Ziegler will try to get a second round pick. I think that's the best deal, right? A swap of first rounds and try to get the second round pick. But GM Howard, no, man. That's not how I do business, bro. But then Dave Ziegler will be like, no, man, that's how you do business because we know that you want Jalen Carter. We're not dumb. We see that we talked to Beast already. He already laid down the foundation. He did the analytics already. We're set. Why? What's the why behind why that trade would make sense for the Las Vegas freaking Raiders? Right? So they make this deal. They end up getting the 10th pick overall and also pick up a third round pick, number 94. Right? So they add another third round pick. They already have number 38 in the second round. Watch this. With the 7th pick in the 2023 NFL draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select defensive tackle Jalen Carter, Georgia. Woo! Crowd goes crazy in Kansas. Woo! Let's eat some ribs. Woo! Woo! All you can eat. Woo! Barbecue time. Woo! GM Terry Fontenot from the Atlanta Falcons is going to be looking at this and be like, oh, damn, man, we want to keep Jalen Carter here in Georgia. Not going to happen. I'm joking. I'm not sure GM Terry Fontenot would have drafted Jalen Carter, but it'd be a hard sell, right? He's like, hey, man, why don't you draft the kid down the street? The best player on your board. Talked to GM Terry Fontenot during the East-West Shrine Bowl festivities. Good guy. He literally asked me who I had in my mock. He's like, where's Bryce Young going? I said, watch my mock. So hopefully you're watching it, GM Terry Fontenot. That'd be cool. All right. So Falcons sitting there, they run a 34 base. All right. And you're looking at this and you'd be like, okay, what do the Falcons do? Right? They have Drake London, drafted tight end Kyle Pitts, right? They have a stable offensive line somewhat, right? They need an offensive guard. They need a wide receiver. They need a nose tackle. They need inside linebacker. They need an outside linebacker on the second level. But they're not going to draft an inside linebacker at number 8. That's too high. That's too high. You don't draft an off-ball linebacker in the top 10 unless it's like a Roquan Smith, Fred Warner, or something like that. Shaquille Leonard, who can also cover in space, right? We're going to talk about the off-ball linebackers, Jack Campbell and Drew Sanders, and which player I like of the two. Bring two vastly different games to the table. Again, we have to peel back layers and get to the core. Okay, 3-4 outside linebacker. That means you need a weak side linebacker or a strong side linebacker. Okay. We have Arnold what's his name? Arnold Ibegetai or whatever his name is. But what do? Are they going to draft CJ Stroud? Are they sold on Desmond Ridder? Right? That is a question that we all need to ask ourselves. Are we sold on Desmond Ridder? DB Cooper says, what was in Beast protein drink tonight? I didn't have any protein drink tonight. I wish I had protein right now. Juan Alvarez says, Beast, your approach and in-depth knowledge of the 32 teams should result in great 2023 draft predictions. Looking forward to seeing the Beast receipts checking out. I got to be 110% honest with you. I am very scared about my Beast receipts this year. And that's because I'm making some very bold predictions that I'm not just throwing darts at the board. I wouldn't make these picks unless I thought they would actually have a 45 to 50% chance of playing out. Especially when it comes to trades, I usually play it safe and take the risk reward game and say, you know what, I'm not going to make these trades because odds are they're going to be making the pick. But this year's different. I'm excited. And I'm not afraid to put my Beast receipts on. I'll call myself out. Hey, man, I got it wrong. But you can't tell me that these conversations are not taking place. All right, so sitting there at number 8, GM Terry Fontenot's going to be like, all right, what are we going to do? Do we go BPA? I don't know. This is what Terry Fontenot's going to do. He's going to look at the board and be like, you know what? Let's try to trade out of this spot. Let's try to trade down, stockpile more picks. Let's call GM Nick Caserio at number 12 and see if he's willing to deal and see if we can kind of, if he wants a quarterback, CJ Stroud. Let's see if he wants CJ Stroud and if he wants to go get CJ Stroud. So now he has obviously Will Anderson and CJ Stroud. Will Anderson and CJ Stroud for the Houston Texans. You don't think that people are going to be talking about that draft? Boom, deal is done. The Houston Texans trade with the Atlanta Falcons, moving up 4 spots from 12 to 8 for the draft rights to go ahead and select CJ Stroud out of the Ohio State University. Wow. If you're doing the math, 4 quarterbacks inside the top 10, that's how we see it playing out, right? That's what the odds makers are saying. How's it playing out? What's the why? I just broke it down. Now, sitting there at 9, there's 89 of us watching right now. 89 people watching. Down kids, better be some caffeine because he needs to sleep. Steve Delina says, salute Beast and everyone in the chat. What's up, Kevin Lurker is in here. Daniel Kiss says, 91 in the room. Hit the like and subscribe to our man Beast. And also, Daniel Kim, put up my social media up there, my YouTube at BEASTwriter, and then also my social media. If you guys want to follow me, you guys can do that. It's at BEASTwriter. True Red Flag says, the difference between the Beast and other beat writers is that you are accessible to us fans and you care about having a relationship with us. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's beneficial, right? Like for everybody, because you guys have a voice. If you guys didn't have a voice, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. Does that make sense? Like there would be no me without you guys, right? Here in the DOB. So that's why it means a lot. And so I really mean that. All right. So sitting there at number 8 with the 8th pick in the 2023 NFL draft, Roger Goodell. With the 8th pick in the 2023 NFL draft, the Houston Texans select CJ Stroud, quarterback, the Ohio State University. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, then you have Rich Eisen. Well, there you go. There's CJ Stroud. He's off the board now. And then here's Mal Kiper. Well, yeah, blah, blah, it was a great pick. And, who's to say that Nick Caserio is a bad GM after all, huh? Who's to say he sucks, right? I mean, come on. I mean, he got Will Anderson at number 2. He got CJ Stroud at number 8. I mean, you can't come out of this draft and you don't have to make any more picks and you can give him an A draft, Mel Kiper. Raiders still sitting there at 10 being like, okay, well, they got CJ Stroud, but we got a 3rd round pick in return. Jalen Carter's off the board. This is the hot spot where I think it's very sticky for the Las Vegas Raiders. They're sweating it out right now. The Chicago Bears are now on the clock with the 9th pick. All right. So Ryan Poles is sitting there with Matt Eberflus, right? And they're sitting there and they're talking and he's like, all right, man, you talk about this hits analysis. Everyone wants to talk. You guys want to know how I know all 32? What's the culture identity of the Chicago Bears? Broke it down here on the DOB on what GM Ryan Poles brings to the table when he was named GM coming from Brett Veachtree. How's Matt Eberflus? And then he goes, oh, yeah, we're going to bring the hits analysis to the Chicago Bears and we're going to win the North and never give it back. Game of Thrones status. Okay. We're going to find out, Ryan Poles. I'm sure Kevin O'Connell has something to say about that, but we'll get to that. Quessio Adolfo Mensa. Okay, holla. He's going to sit there and be like, all right, man, we're sitting there at 9. What are we going to do? And then the pro player personnel guy is going to be like, hey, man, we need to protect freaking Justin Fields, yo. We need to protect Justin Fields. And then director of college scouting is going to be like, yeah, we saw him at the Ohio State Pro Day. We like this kid, Paris Johnson Jr. We know the Las Vegas Raiders are high on him. which, by the way, what I say, Peter Skoronski or Paris Johnson for the Raiders if Devin Witherspoon's off the board in that cluster that I talked about, right? We talked about this back on January 11th, January 19th. There's a reason why I talk about Peter Skoronski and Paris Johnson above any other player valued. I'm going to talk about the Raiders, what they're going to do. I'm going to talk about right now what the Bears are going to do. The Raiders are sweating out because even though I like Peter Skoronski more than I like Paris Johnson, I think the Raiders value Paris Johnson higher on their board. Write that down. It's not what I like. It's what I actually see actually playing out. In talking to people and grading film and all of that, I think most teams have Paris Johnson higher on their board because they view Paris Johnson as a better offensive tackle, not an offensive lineman. If you're just talking an offensive lineman, regardless of position, Peter Skoronski, kicked inside the guard, would be head and shoulders above any other offensive lineman in this draft class when I grade the film. However, Paris Johnson Jr. has the NFL traits that you look for an offensive tackle. Again, he has 3,600 arms, man. Like, oh my gosh. Like, what am I going to do with this? Stay at bay. Stay at bay. Oh, look at that. Stay at bay. Hand placement. Violent hands. Control. Jump set. Vertical set. Angle set. Hit the second level. So Ryan Poles, being a former offensive lineman in the NFL, is going to look at this and be like, you know what? You can't coach height. Beast is vertically challenged. Paris Johnson is not. I like his height, weight, speed. Yeah. And Justin Fields, okay, did some background check on this. You also have to do legwork, right? Not just what people are regurgitating stuff. You have to actually know what you're talking about. Background check and say, hey, Justin Fields, aren't you good friends with Paris Johnson? Aren't your parents good friends? Like your mom and his mom, aren't they good friends? Oh, yeah. Okay, so what is that like? And then again, like, what do you think of him? You're going to be biased, but, what do you think? Honest feedback. Oh, I would love to have Paris Johnson as my offensive tackle. Okay, cool enough for me. Of course, the Northwestern coach is going to be like, no, man, I'm a big Chicago Bears fan. I want Peter Skoronski to go to my Chicago Bears, man. That's my guy, and that's my team. And Ryan Poles is going to be like, that may be, but Justin Fields has a strong say in who he wants. And he said, Paris Johnson Jr. Nah, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have that much. But hey, look, the conversations probably took place. So the card is made. Boom. You take it in. And Roger Goodell says, with the 9th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select offensive tackle Paris Johnson Jr. out of the Ohio State University. And then Rich Eisen goes, oh, back-to-back Ohio State Buckeyes go. Oh, my gosh, that's just great news for the Big Ten. And, oh, my gosh, I'm a Michigan fan, so blah. And then Mel Kiper is going to be like, well, I was talking to a lot of scouts and a lot of NFL within NFL circles and Paris Johnson. Yeah, depending on which flavor you wanted. But he has those long arms, but he might be a little bit of a waist bender, but he's not really a knee bender like Peter Skoronski, but he has those long arms and Peter Skoronski has those alligator arms. There's 82 of you guys watching right now. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and like the video. I'm going to check how many likes we have on this video. This is fun. I wasn't going to do this, but I was like, forget, I'm going to do it. Oh man. How many likes do we have right now? We have 79 likes right now. Give it a thumbs up, man. There's 91 of you guys watching right now. We should have a way more likes than that. All right. So check this out. Or 83. Sorry, 83. It was at 91. All right. So check this out. All right. So then just the Las Vegas Raiders like, oh crap, man. Like we wanted Paris Johnson. He was the highest rated player on our board. And like I said, I don't know, but based on watching film and the scheme fit and watching training camp videos and how they coach them up and what they look for in the NFL traits for, in my estimation, I think there's things that you look for that you think you can coach up. Coach Priscillo does a really good job. I kind of have an idea of what he looks for based on how they play on, when watching game film. You have to watch game film to know. You can't just be like, oh, yeah, this guy's a good offensive tackle. Darnell Wright. Let's draft him because he's right tackle, Tennessee. No. DB says, I'm living analysis with a reason. Salvatore Bruno says, B E A S T. Write that down. Like it. Jorge says, what's good, Beast? What's going on, man? How are you guys doing today? This is cool, right? I hope you guys like this. Flinko versus Flinko says, I got news for you. Your numbers are always going to go up with this fire content. Well, I appreciate that. I hope so. And again, I wouldn't be here without you guys. So again, tell the nation about my mock draft. Show them this live stream so they can write this down and then pass it off as I'm telling you. People are going to steal this and be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to use that and write about it. Jeremy Lewis says, wise move for Ziegler is to trade down and acquire more picks. All right, so with the Raiders sitting there at 10, what did they do? They wanted Paris Johnson. Here's something that is some food for thought for all you guys. And I know it goes against conventional wisdom. What I'm hearing right now is I'm hearing the Pittsburgh Steelers want to move up because they wanted Paris Johnson and they knew they weren't getting him at number 17 because there's so many other teams that need an offensive tackle. Green Bay Packers need an offensive tackle. New York Jets need an offensive tackle. Obviously, you have the Las Vegas Raiders need an offensive tackle. Chicago Bears need an offensive tackle. If Paris Johnson is your top-rated player, and I know they're high on him, Omar Khan was at the pro day. Obviously, head coach Mike Tomlin was at the pro day. They always go to the Ohio State pro day because it's right there, and I think that's one of their teams that they like to cover. Obviously, Cam Hayward. They drafted Dorian Grant in the 4th round. If you guys remember me talking about Dorian Grant and when they drafted Senquez Golson out of Ole Miss, diminutive yet shifty cornerback that never made it, but I liked him. That base receipt never checked out. Yikes. So anyways, what do the Raiders do at number 10? All right. So they can either field a trade and be like, okay, well, A, Omar Khan from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ring, 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 ring. Omar Khan's going to pick up, be like, yeah. He's like, okay, man. So we know that you're interested in trading up for an offensive tackle. We know you wanted Paris Johnson Jr., but did you want to go ahead and get your next David DeCastro at number 10? He's going to be like, what are you talking about? Well, back when GM Kevin Colbert was there, he went ahead and drafted David DeCastro, offensive guard. And you guys had a Pro Bowl guard for many years. Do you want Peter Skoronski? And what would it take for you guys to go ahead and get him? And he's going to be like, we really don't need an offensive guard, man. We really want an offensive tackle. We really want Paris Johnson Jr. But what about Darnell Wright? I don't think they trade up for Darnell Wright at 10. I've seen some mocks. I'm like, what are we doing? Anyways, Las Vegas Raiders, okay, no deal. All right, hangs up. GM Dave Ziegler sitting there with Champ Kelly, who, by the way, does a really good job. He's an assistant GM, second in command. Forgot to mention him. By the way, sorry, Champ. Who is a champ? Anyways, coming from the Chicago Bears, believe it or not, had a big say in bringing them Bilal Nichols. But here we go. They're going to keep the pick, and they're going to make the pick. So they're sitting there at number 10, be like, damn, Beast is going to get his guy. All right, turning the card with the 10th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select offensive tackle Peter Skoronski, Northwestern. People are going to be like, oh, he's not an offensive tackle. He's an offensive guard. Whatever the case may be, he's not a one-trick pony. My analysis tells me if this was to play out the way I see it playing out today, now things can change tomorrow. Today, you're looking at possibly moving Dylan Parham to his more natural right guard position that he played at Memphis, kicking in Peter Skoronski from tackle to left guard, right? Who does that remind you of? Zach Martin, because he played blindside left tackle at Notre Dame before kicking inside with the Dallas Cowboys. Now is moving up, and would you draft a guard at number 10? Well, what's the blueprint formula for Jimmy Garoppolo's success in San Francisco when I covered him? I just talked about Martin Mayhew going after who? Lincoln Tomlinson. Who else did they go after? They drafted with their first round pick, drafted number 9 overall. Right tackle Mike McGlinchey back in 2018. They went ahead and struck a trade for Trent Williams, blindside left tackle. So you cannot tell me that they're not looking at that blueprint and saying, hey, durability is a concern for Jimmy Garoppolo. We need to protect our investment. It's not a sexy pick, but ultimately it could be the right pick as the board falls. Now, people are wondering right now, Raiders pick up Peter Skoronski. All right, my best bet, and again, this is going to probably change tomorrow, but as of today, Arizona Cardinals, they're now on the clock. They traded from 3 to 11. Who are they going to get? Well, they just traded away DeAndre Hopkins, so they need a wide receiver. They get the best one. Monty Ossenfort's sitting there on the clock and says, okay, let's turn the card right now. With the 11th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver, the Ohio State University. Oh, three Ohio State players. All right. And the next 4 picks go off the board. All right. Now, what did the Atlanta Falcons do at number 12? GM Terry Fontenot sitting there and like, man, okay, well, we really don't need a wide receiver. Kinda, we did. But are we going to take a tier 2 wide receiver? Because the only one that we had rated as a round 1 wide receiver was, in fact, Jackson Smith-Njigba. So now if we look at the tier-based ranking, because wide receiver is not the cream of the crop as in years past, let's look at other positional needs. Offensive guard. Sorry, Peter Skoronski. He's off the board. Nose tackle. There's no nose tackle worthy of this pick based on beast grades. Inside linebacker, outside linebacker. What do we do? He's going to look at the board and be like, you know what? We're not going to reach for any of these picks. We're just going to make the pick and go best player available. So Terry Fontenot's going to say, all right, let's turn in the card. Who are they picking? With the 12th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select. Here's a surprise pick. Bijan Robinson, running back, Texas. Bijan Robinson? Are you kidding me? What are we doing with Bijan Robinson? Who would draft Bijan Robinson that high? Oh my gosh. It's not what I would do. It's what I actually see playing out. Right? It's what I actually see playing out. Why? Because Tyler Algier, although he set the single franchise record for a Falcons rookie running back, going over 1,000 yards, I think it was 1,035, had 135 yards in his last game to break the 1,000 mark. They know Desmond Ridder needs help, and it starts with that smash mouth rushing attack. Kyle Pitts is there, Drake London, Bijan Robinson. He can line up in the slot. You can use him in a lot of variety of different roles. So you're not just looking at Bijan Robinson as a one-trick pony. And if you're looking at versatility, that's Bijan Robinson to a T. All right, there's 69 of you guys watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. D-Man says, Austin, Beast is the real deal. There is no script, brother. There's no script. Why would there be a script? In fact, definitely no script. But a lot of hours, and how could there be a script in me saying that in real time? Yeah, no, definitely no script. But I know that's what you're getting here. You're getting the value. It's crazy, right? I should be on ESPN or something, right? I should be on NFL Network. I should be on more radio talk show hits talking about the draft, right? Here in Las Vegas. I know. Tell me. Preach. You're preaching to the choir, man. Everyone knows what I bring to the table. Man. There's 72 of you guys watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Steve DeLuna says, I've been waiting many years for a defensive tackle like Carter and defensive end like Wilson. OG63. Oh. Jean-Paul Eberdidios, who's an Arizona Cardinals fan, says, having Derrick Henry and Jackson Smith and Jigba would help Kyler. Absolutely. Jason Marshall says, tape 23 beast. Oh my gosh. So here's the thing, right? People are going to piggyback on my analysis, pass it off as their own, but they can't provide the analysis that I just provided in real time. They can write it down, no, hide behind a computer and do it. Doesn't work though. DB Cooper says, do you see us trading back up into the first round? That remains to be seen. Check out tomorrow for my mock draft on that. Ted Cunningham has, Beast has Skoronski played offensive guard. Paris Johnson, I know, has, just wondering. No. He's been an offensive tackle his whole life. In 2020, he took over for Rashawn Slater, who opted out due to COVID, and was a blindside left tackle for 3 years and held his own all 3 years. Graded his film from 2020 to 2022, so that's 3 years body of work. No player I evaluated more than Peter Skoronski, which is why I think he's the best offensive lineman. But if you're talking about offensive tackle, you have to consider Paris Johnson. You know, you have to consider Paris Johnson as the top offensive tackle in this year's draft class. It's a two-man race. Really, it is. I don't think Broderick Jones or Darnell Wright are even in conversation. If they are, not in the beast receipts for me. Raiders got game recognized games. Says Beast, you giving real scenarios. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. It's crazy, man, because again, it's not what I would do. It's what I actually see the draft playing out, right? So people get mad at me saying, and I see these mock drafts because that's what they would do. But you think GM Howie Roseman's going to give up? Someone asked me, do you see the Eagles being a likely trade scenario? And I talked about that back on January 19th. And then someone brought it up in the comments saying, oh, well, you think it's a first and a second? I was like, well, that's not a Howie Roseman thing to do. Now, it could be, because if he values Jalen Carter as a top 5 pick like everyone does, then yeah, I guess if GM Dave Ziegler wants to play hardball and say, hey, look, we're not going to give up the 7th overall pick unless you give us our a round 2 pick, then yeah, that can happen. But based on past history, that I don't see that playing out. He gives up round 4 picks, round 5 picks, and a swap of first. Now move up to number 7. You kind of inflate that a little bit and say that's a 3rd rounder, right? That's a 3rd rounder, but it could be a 2. It could be a 2 as well. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying the hypothetically, I don't see it playing out that way. So, yeah. Jack says, is this Beast or Jimmy Garoppolo? Sorry, with no disrespect, no way, 100. And look, this is how I see it playing out. And the Beast receipts check out. You can get mad at me. You can be upset with me, but go check the Beast receipts. Go check the Beast receipts. Daniel Kim says, that's the exact issue. Juan. People will report his analysis and try to sound smarter than they actually are. Very true. Yeah, people want to say it and then don't give me credit for it. That's the problem. Bo Timothy says, Beast trimming the waters right now, and I love it. I'm just saying, man, like, I just keep it 100. Look, am I going to get every pick right? No. Is this trade scenario likely to happen? Potentially. Are they going to go after Peter Skoronski? Potentially. If Devin Witherspoon's off the board, the answer is yes. They're going to trade down because odds are, or stay pat, because what happens is the hot spot in my mind is they view Paris Johnson as the highest rated tackle on their board. If someone wants to give up the farm or give up an additional draft pick to move up from 10 to 7 to draft Jalen Carter, how can you say no to that and then leverage that future draft capital to possibly move up in the tail end of the first or the second and then get another guy that you otherwise wouldn't have at number 38? You see where I'm going with this? Kevin Lucas says, I can see it going down like this. Now, who are we talking next? We got another third to play. That is very true. That is very true. And like I said, man, like, look, I think in my estimation, I think Christian Gonzalez might slide outside the top 10. Call me crazy. I think he's might even possibly slide outside the top 15 if the New England Patriots don't take him at number 14. So there's a lot of different layers to this, right? And again, it's going to be interesting. The great thing about this is that you can disagree with analysis, but Beast is giving you the actual analysis on not the who he wants. Yeah, I'm not going to give you the analysis on who I want. And it's funny. Some people get upset because of, look, if I didn't have a voice or if it didn't make sense, you wouldn't be upset. You would just be like, oh, no, that's not going to happen. But you know in your heart of hearts that this possibility could play out. Not saying it will, but it could. Because all this time that you guys have been following me, the Beast receipts have checked out, which is why you're upset and feeling so emotional about it. But you have to take your emotions out of it and then look at it from a GM's perspective on that specific GM. It's not what I would do. Heck, I would want Jalen Carter at number 7, but it's not what I would do. It's not up to me. I don't make the pick. So I hope that makes sense. Raiders Game Recognized Game says, watch tape on Gonzalez today. We need to take him. We did watch tape and we actually put it up here on the live stream on Sunday. So we did a breakdown on the top rankings on my big board when it comes to the boundary quarterback. So, which by the way, that video got taken down because it's copyrighted because I was posting game film. So sorry, can't help you there because it was copyrighted. So I can't show game film anymore, apparently. For college. Federo Music says Skoronski in first round would be a nightmare. Austin Martinez says the Titans trading up makes so much sense. It does, right? And I made it make sense. But people are saying, oh, yeah, they're going to trade up. Okay, what does that look like? What's the why? Anybody can just throw out darts and be like, oh, yeah, they're going to trade. Okay, what's the why? What's the why? All right, the 61 of you guys watching right now, give this video a thumbs up. 64, give it a thumbs up if you like what I have to say. And be sure to hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of your screen as you stay up to date on all things Beast in real time. There's a red button that says subscribe, and turn on the bell notifications so you guys get notified. Also, if you guys want to support, we've been on for 1 hour and 22 minutes and 17 seconds. All right, 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 21 seconds. If you'd like to support the channel through a super chat or a super sticker, let me know. And I will go ahead and answer those questions first, and I'll get to the others after that. But I just want to say a special mahalo to those who already sent me super chats. You guys have been showing those good vibes only before you even started the chat on this live stream. The Nation Nightmare, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Helps out a lot. And again, all the DOB super chats that we get gets funneled back into the upkeep of the channel. It means better lighting. It means upkeep of the sound equipment, the live streams that I pay for. I have to pay for the streaming service. Have to pay for obviously all the audio and all of that. And then obviously trying to save up money for a backdrop. We're trying to save money for some game film stuff that costs thousands of dollars. So stay tuned for that. But all this helps. Thank you so much. Rafael Martinez has got your back, big dog. I appreciate it. Daniel Kim, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, bring it, Beast Raiders. G Money says, oh my God, it's happening. $4.99. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Kelly, my guy, Kelly Joseph, the winner of the BEASTwriter giveaway. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it, my guy. Appreciate it. And yeah, we have a lot of cool stuff coming in today, guys. And this has been a fun live stream. I know you guys like talking about stuff, but it's one of those things, man. It's people want defense, but look at what they already did in the pro player personnel department. Again, there's different layers to this, right? You can't just logically think that they didn't think at some point some of those needs were covered in free agency to reset the market and what they do and how they build up their draft board. Correct? And again, I'm making you think here, right? Because logically, because a lot of people don't know where to start with that. Like even people who cover the team, they don't know where, like, that's not their thing. I'm bringing it to you, right? Look at who they signed. They signed 8 guys on defense. John Jenkins from the Dolphins, Jordan Willis from the 49ers, Robert Spillane from the Steelers, Brandon Faison from the Colts, David Long from the Rams, Duke Shelley from the Vikings, Marcus Epps from the Eagles, and Jaquan Johnson from the Bills. Jaquan Johnson from the Bills. So all these guys, at least you would want to say like 6 out of the 8 are going to make the 53-man roster. So where does that leave the valuation on the horizontal board? Everyone's talking about the vertical board. We should take this guy. We should take it. But you guys are missing the horizontal board. What's the tier rank based on positional need, based on the valuation versus evaluation of making those picks at the rounds that you're supposed to be selected at on the slots that you're supposed to be picking those selections, right? So again, you can't just look at it and say, we need Christian Gonzalez. We need Devin Witherspoon. Why? Because this is a very top-heavy cornerback draft class, whereas wide receiver is not. So if you needed a wide receiver hypothetically, would you rather take a wide receiver 1 in this draft class, maybe reach a little bit higher because you know from going from a wide receiver 1, the next tier is wide receiver 3, as opposed to getting a cornerback who is also a need? You can get the CB1, but would you rather get the CB1 later because you can find a CB2 in the 3rd round on your next available pick? That's where tier-based ranking comes into play for me. And all GMs, if you're a good GM. Austin Martinez says, do you watch Raider films on YouTube? I do not watch Raider films on YouTube. Don't have time for that, to be honest with you. I don't know who Raider films is, but I'll check them out. But no, I don't watch Raider films on YouTube. D-Man says, but thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it, Austin. Like and subscribe to Beast. There you go. Daniel Ken says, I'm a real life friend. I never met Beast until alive. I had never heard anybody on YouTube break down things like he did. I stayed for the content and made a friend. It's pretty dope. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. And a good friend at that. Look, and this is the thing about it, right? Like everybody brings their own flavor. My flavor is predicting the future and cross-checking my real-time predictions and Beast receipts in hindsight, right? That's why you guys follow me, right? And again, people are not going to like, and you're not going to get along with everyone because they're not going to see it from the lens of a beat writer perspective who breaks it down like this. The daily reporter or the daily one does not have the aptitude or the parameters of exactly to know what to look for on the other 32 NFL GMs to even formulate this analysis. It's too much for them. They don't have enough time. There's not enough hours in the day. But here in the DOB, I take the time, I sacrifice a lot, and it's all for you guys, right? Lapoaka K says, 8008 says, thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciate it, my guy. Man, it's been crazy, man. We had like 90 people on here at one time. I don't think we ever had 90 people. With the Niners, we did. With the Niners, we would hit like around draft time. We had like 600, 700, sometimes 1,000 people on the stream at one time when it comes to especially when it comes to the draft. Because people come in and aren't even Niner fans. And they were like Raider fans. They were Steelers fans because they want to know who the picks are going to be made because they know, they already know the Beast receipts check out. I'm not saying that this trade's going to happen, right, with the Raiders, right? And if I'm going to take a guess, I would lean toward that it's not going to happen. I would say it's a 45% chance that it's not going to, a 55% chance to 60% chance that this trade is not going to happen. But if Jalen Carter falls to the Raiders at 7 and GM Howie Roseman loves to trenches guys. He talks to Nakobe Dean. He talks to freaking Jordan Davis, and he says, hey, man, what do you think of Jalen Carter? He was your teammate. Zeus White already told me, no offense to JD, but that obviously Jalen Carter's different, right, throughout the season. What do you think they're saying? And they're his teammates and played with him on the same side of the football. Zeus White was the opposite side. Jalen Carter's different. Okay, probably say, hey, man, let's get him. Why not? Oh, man. Thank you, everyone, for sending me the super chats. We got a lot coming in today. All right. Kevin Lurker says, I still think Atlanta might do something to shake things up. You know what? That'd be crazy, right? Drafting C.J. Stroud. Houston Texans get C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. Isn't that crazy? Or a quarterback of their choice, whoever that is. That'd be nuts. That'd be a crazy draft, man. That'd be a crazy, crazy draft. All right, there's 65 of you guys watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what I have to say and you like my game film breakdowns and my mock draft analysis when it comes to your Las Vegas Raiders. We've been on for an hour and 30 minutes now. And if you guys have any questions, send me those super chats and I'll be sure to answer those first. Also, if you just have time to go ahead and ask a question, I'll get to those as well. I'm also tweeting back and forth on Twitter and obviously Instagram and Facebook to get to your questions. But yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on right now, and it's crazy. It's crazy right now, man. What's going on? 91 likes right now on the video. I wonder how many people watched it or are watching it. They're probably like, what is going on? So yeah, so if you're just tuning in, 65 of us watching now, it's going up. We made some trades here, right? At the very top of the draft in order for the Raiders to go ahead and strike a deal with GM Howie Roseman from the Philadelphia Eagles for a first and a third. Ideally, what GM Dave Ziegler was going to do, he's going to ask for a first and a second. And the reason for that is because he knows the valuation and the need for a defensive tackle because Fletcher Cox is playing on a one-year deal and Javon Hargrave just signed that mega deal with the San Francisco 49ers. So he knows right now that he needs a plug-and-play defensive tackle that he can build for the foreseeable future because his offensive line is set, but his defensive line is not, right? And again, he builds teams from the inside out, not the outside in. That's what good GMs do. Talked about it on Twitter. And that's why he's been with Philadelphia Eagles for so long. The question remains to be seen, what does that look like? I just gave you the parameters based on what GM Howie Roseman did back in 2012 to draft defensive tackle Fletcher Cox, moving from 15 to 12, and then also what he did to move up for Jordan Davis last year, right? What is the valuation versus evaluation on interior defensive tackles that he wanted that otherwise he knew he couldn't have because he knew last year the Baltimore Ravens, GM Eric DeCosta was going to go ahead and take him. That's why the over-under at Vegas was 14, right? What's the over-under on Jordan Davis? 14. He went 13. Vegas must have knew something. I thought he was going to go to the Baltimore Ravens. Damn it. Made that bet. Lost by one. Lost by one pick. If GM Howie Roseman did not move up in that draft, he definitely would have been a Baltimore Raven. Jordan Davis would. I don't think they would have went after Kyle Hamilton. Although he is definitely I knew the Baltimore Ravens were going to get Tyler Linderbaum. Right? We talked about this. They always do well in the 20s in drafting BPA in that 25 to 32 range because every year these dumb GMs reach for need, diminishing the value pick every year. Daniel Kim says, Beast is the real deal. Holyfield. Oh, my goodness. Daniel Kim says, unlike the Niners, there's a lot of content creators for the silver and black. People will find Beast. The one thing about the nation is that we want guys who are genuine and know their stuff. Man, this has been a crazy live. And you know what? To be honest with you, I love Christian Gonzalez. I'd be happy with Christian Gonzalez. I'd be happy with Devin Witherspoon. I'd be happy with Jalen Carter if we get him. But the off-field stuff does kind of scare me. I'm not going to sit here and lie. So if you're asking me, would I take Jalen Carter? Because I know Zeus White. I know what Zeus White told me about Jalen Carter, right? And he didn't even mention off-field stuff during the season. So I can only imagine what he told GM Dave Ziegler. Hey, man, like, yeah, I think you need to draft him, probably, right? So he cross-checks with Georgia players and teammates. I'm sure they cross-checked it and they did their research. So if Jalen Carter ultimately is the pick, I'd be happy with that. I'd be okay with that, right? I'd be 50-50 on that because he is a generational talent if he can put it all together on the field. But coming in overweight for his pro day, not being able to finish the condition drill, something I pointed out when grading his film, right? We talked about it when I graded his film before he had his pro day. I said conditioning may be a problem. It was. Came pound 9 pounds overweight, and that no contest, citing no contest violation. That's a real deal. That's a real deal. I mean, that's red flags after red flags after red flags for me. Ugh. Jack Kenneth says Raiders need to do the same, building inside out. Absolutely. Daniel Kim says if you like Beast content, not agree with it. If you think he knows what he's talking about, tell a friend to tell a friend. Beast Nation, BEASTwriter. Oh, Beast Nation. I like that. Beast Nation. I like that. I like that. Beast Nation. You just gave a new hashtag, Beast Nation. Instead of DOB Mob, should we be called Beast Nation? I think Beast Nation's better, right? Than DOB Mob. Should we just call ourselves the Beast Nation here? Ted Cunningham says, this is my first year following your draft analysis. Grew up following draft gurus like Godfather Gilbrand and Rick Gosselin. Hopefully you the next one. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. And I followed Gilbrand over the years. I follow, I'm a very, very attention to detail, analytical person. And the more learning I do, because I like to read a lot when it comes to football knowledge and learning the NFL game, and then also the X's and O's. But aside from that, the personnel department and how the scouting and all that, I like learning different layers, because if you're not learning, you're not growing, right? And every day you either get better or worse. You never remain the same. The moment you lose that drive for success, right, is the moment you lose on being successful. Like, it just doesn't work. You have to be hungry. You have to be able to feed the beast all the time. And what's that beast look like? I give it to you every single day. I put my heart, soul, and passion into every live stream I do. And it's very authentic. You're not going to find it anywhere else. And if people try to do it and copycat, call them out, because they know they don't have that insight. There's no way you do. There's no way. Kevin Lurker says he's a beast himself. Boosting with these says hashtag Beast Nation. Yeah, man, it's a lot of cool stuff going on here with the nation, man. Beast Nation's coming in hot. I like that, Beast Nation. But yeah, we've been on for an hour and 36 minutes. So if you'd like to support through a super sticker or a super chat, please be sure to do that. And then let's keep the conversation going, right? So again, if you guys have any questions in regards, R Vegas says Beast Nation. Yeah, thank you. And like I said, man, like this prediction is very bold, right? Odds are it's not going to happen. I'm just being real with you guys, right? Like, I'm not saying this beast receipt's going to check out, because odds are it's not. But I'm making you guys think that the possibility is that it could happen, right? I just don't throw darts at the board. So if you're going to say Raiders are going to trade down, okay, what does that look like? Who are they going to trade down with? At what point are they going to make that trade? If you notice, I only made this trade after both Jalen Carter and CJ Stroud were both on the board. Because why? What's the why behind why I did it at this point instead of doing it after the third pick, after the second pick, after the first pick? Because you have to know the dynamics of the other 32 NFL GMs, what their needs are, how they like to formulate their draft board, and then also what they like to do in their tendencies and biases when they trade up for a certain player in a certain positional stock that they're in. You have to know these things in order to form that analysis. You can't just plug and play and be like, yeah, they're going to trade down with who? Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, for what? Well, it doesn't really make sense, right? When you look at the valuation chart and how they do it, because not all valuation charts are created equal. And if you valued a generational talent or a Hall of Fame player inside the top 5, but you otherwise could have him at 7, if it was me and I knew right now that Jalen Carter was ranked on my board as a Hall of Fame player, the next Bryant Young, all right, the next Warren Sapp, okay, if I knew he was going to be that guy and not an Albert Hainsworth, not an Albert Sainsworth out of Tennessee, and I knew he was going to be a Hall of Fame player with a gold jacket for the Las Vegas Raiders, I would give up a first and a second. Then it would make sense. But I'm not so sure Howie Roseman would do it for a number of different reasons, because what he did to give up for Fletcher Cox and Jordan Davis does not add up based on the valuation chart on what he actually did. Actions speak louder than words. Than words ever will, right? I always say that. So if that's true, what does that look like? What does that look like? Right? Like, what does that look like? You have to know that. You have to know that. Edgar Benet says, what would it take to trade with Arizona to take once in a generation talent like Carter? I'll take a risk. Yeah, people are talking, and I talked to some people, whether it be scouts, executives, GMs, even my own friends who know their stuff. Not on my level, but they know their stuff, right? Like they're pretty, like Daniel Kim is downplaying when I had a talk with Daniel Kim about stuff, or my guy Jimmy, right? We talk about football. They know their stuff, and they're like, "No, man, we're not on your level." Blah blah blah. That may be true, but don't downplay your own grind, because you guys know your stuff, right? Like, I truly believe in that, and I think that's what makes the DLB so special. Is because, one, I learned stuff from you guys just as much as you guys learn from me. Like, I really truly believe that, and for me to open it up to where you guys can actually have an authentic, engaged conversation, whether you agree with me or not, the fact remains that the potentials of me pushing a narrative that I think is actually going to happen because the Beast Receipts check out makes you think. It makes you think, right? So you're going to go home tonight, or if you're watching this on your way home from work, or if you're watching this at home, or whatever the case may be, at the gym, whatever the case may be, right? Like SVT Vasquez and some of the other guys work out and want me to post more workout videos, but that'll be after the draft. It makes you think, and it makes me think. I'm going to go home. Oh, I'm already home. I'm going to sleep at night tonight. Hopefully I get some sleep. Maybe 3 hours. All right. And I'm going to think, the live stream that I just did and predicting that the Raiders would trade down from 7 to 10 with GM Howie Roseman for a first and a third round pick. Did I make a mistake by making that trade? Or was I just fooling myself into thinking that actually could play out? When you overthink things, you tend to mess up. And that's something that I fight myself with every way and every day, because I'm a perfectionist in every sense of the word. When someone asks me in the interview process for a job, they say, okay, what's your strengths and weaknesses? Of course I have a strength and a weakness. Of course I do, right? D-Men's, thank you so much. He says, Beast Nation. I think we just found our new name. Beast Nation is what it's at. I like that. Beast Nation. What does that look like, though? And so I think that's the most important thing here in the DOB, is like, we're very different. You can have an opinion about something, but as long as it's very thought out and it actually does make sense, not saying it, like, who's to say that this blockbuster deal is going to take place? What are the chances that it's going to probably not, right? Arizona Cardinals giving up a third overall pick to move back 8 spots at number 11, and then also giving up DeAndre Hopkins in that deal, and in return getting Derrick Henry, Anthony Richardson at 3, and then also a future first-round pick. What are the odds that's going to play out? And then sitting there at number 11, Monty Austinfort, who comes from the New England Patriots tree, is going to look at this and be like, let's strike a deal. And sitting there at 11, he's going to be like, yeah, let's get the wide receiver 1, Jackson Smith-Njigba from The Ohio State University. He didn't play much last year, but we see what he brings to the table. And we know that he can thrive in this offense and be a wide receiver 1, because we just traded DeAndre Hopkins and now we have a need. And if you do this correctly, right, Monty Austinfort comes from the New England Patriots tree, but he's also coming as a vice president of player personnel from the Titans. So he's very well familiar with the Titans, because he just came from there. Hello. So for me, again, I can go on layers of the Beast Receipts, right? Like, the why is endless. for me when I make these points. It's endless. Thank you so much, D. Menace. Thank you so much, Head. He says, Beast, do you see the Raiders taking a quarterback? If so, what round do you think they pull that trigger? I think they can potentially climb back up in the tail end of the first round and get Hendon Hooker. Now, I'm hearing noise that the Seattle Seahawks, because they did their due diligence on all the quarterbacks, would be Anthony Richardson, whether it be CJ Stroud, whether it be Bryce Young, whether it be Will Levis, right? You saw GM John Schneider there. You saw head coach Pete Carroll there. And they're at their pro days, right? And so they were watching them up close and center, right? Usually, you got to keep track of that, right? You got to keep track of where the GM Tom Telesco goes, if he goes, right? If he ends up being there, right? Like, what pro days is he at? How does that kind of figure out the draft plans? Are they showing their hand? Are they hiding their hand? Is it a smokescreen? You need to know these things, because if you don't, you're going to be left in the dust. Right? You need to know all this stuff. And again, to formulate my mock drafts, you have to know scouting departments. You have to know who the director of college scouting is. You have to know where they come from. You have to know their background. You have to know their tendencies and biases. You have to know what scouts they bring in, which national scouts they are. Like with the 49ers, every time you see Ethan Waugh, right, who's now with the vice president of player personnel, assistant GM with GM Trent Baalke, right? Ethan Waugh and me, we talked football all the time. We talked scouting all the time, right? Told him to draft Saquon Barkley, and he was even eligible yet. He was like, how do you know? And like every time I'm in the press box, we talk, and then we talk football. And then now they also have Justin Chabot there now, who is a national scout. They have Steve Rubio there. My guy AJ Highsmith for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, you talk to all these. You develop relationships with people, and they're not going to show you their hand, and I'm not going to give them any information as well. But you build a foundation, right? You build a foundation, and if they see something in you, they're going to want to help you grow, right? As a beat writer, as a reporter, so you can better understand the dynamics. Like, I'm not going to criticize a GM or a scouting department without doing and knowing the parameters of what they're trying to build, right? Like the foundational principles of how they're trying to build up their team. And there's a lot of different layers. I mean, literally thousands of different layers to this. But at the end of the day, the Beast receipts check out. And that's why. Because you have to know the landscape of the other 32. You have to know that. Otherwise, you'll be left in the dust. Kevin Lurk says, I was talked into being okay to take Jalen Carter. However, I would know it's a risk and I wouldn't sleep as well. I'm a perfectionist too. It's a curse. Yeah, man. Like I said, would I take Jalen Carter at 7? I would say pass. I mean, I would be happy with Jalen Carter, but ultimately, it's like fighting with myself. Like, I'm fighting with myself because I'm saying, okay, Jalen Carter is the best player on my board. Fans would love it. He embodies the Raider way for the most part. And Zeus White says we can live with this. Our scouts love him. Champ Kelly agrees with them. You know what I mean? This is hypothetical. I'm just giving you a hypothetical, right? If they were to draft Jalen Carter. For me, I would just say no, because there's too much risk involved living in Las Vegas. I'm just telling you, I just wrapped up my first year here living here. There's a lot of temptation here. Every day there's temptation, whether it's to go to the sportsbook casino, whether it's, you have all these bars, strips just down the street from Raiders headquarters, 15 minutes away, right? From Henderson, Nevada, right? I hear people racing here all the time. Just FYI, on St. Rose, it's a one shot. If you live here on St. Rose, you know what I'm talking about. Every time around 12:45 a.m., because I don't sleep till 3 or 4, 12:45 to 2:30 a.m., there's always drag racing. Always on St. Rose. I'm telling you right now. I know. I just live right here, right across the street from Raiders headquarters, literally. It's one of those things where I think you have to be a mature person or a mature enough person to handle that kind of environment, right? Does that make sense? And I'm not saying Jalen Carter can't handle that. I'm not saying that because I don't know the guy personally. All I'm saying is for anyone to live here, you have to have that type of character. Two Red Ring says, my daughter says you look like One Punch Man. I don't know who One Punch Man is, but is that a bad thing or a good thing? Who's One Punch Man? I've been told I look like Avatar. You guys know who Avatar is? I love that Japanese anime, Avatar. Another one at the gym called me Baki, and I started watching Baki. Speaking of Japanese anime, since we're on the topic, my guy, Brandon Bolden, got me on Kigen Ashura. And we talk about Japanese anime all the time. We don't just talk about football here in the DOB when I interview the players. We also talk about random stuff because you get to know the player on the personal level. It's really, really cool. And they're great people, man. That locker room is love that. They're just dope. Everyone's good vibes. Dan Kids, this Carter would be a good pick, but with everything on the table in Vegas, can we chance not getting a guy that will be great for a guy that might not be mature enough to handle money and the Vegas vice? It's very true. And again, I don't know Jalen Carter personally. And if he gets drafted by the Raiders, I will have his back, right? I will have his back once he's drafted here because, again, I'm 50-50. I'd be okay with that. Now, would I love the pick? From a character standpoint, I would say no. From a character standpoint, I would say no. I think he's a little immature. But then again, I'll be honest with you. I was immature. For me to say that I wasn't, I'm just being 110% honest with you. I used to race back in the Bay, all right? Back in high school, all right? Back in my early college, I did. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't. You know, in the Bay Area, you know, we meet up at In-N-Out. Y'all know how we did it at McCarthy Ranch. Come on. Everybody did it who had a nice car. Acura Integra, Honda Prelude, Acura RSX. You line it up and you go. But I don't know. Again, and back then, obviously, it was safe because there's no one on that. Like, there's no one there in that area. It's just all business and it's a straight shot. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like, and the streets are wide. I shouldn't say it's safe because drag racing is not safe, but safer. Two red ring says, you got my kids rolling with the anime comparisons. Dude, I love Japanese anime. It's dope. It's dope. Japanese anime is so dope. Mercedes says, good times over at the In-N-Out in Milpitas. You already know. See, you know what I'm talking about. See, I ain't making stuff up. It's called the runs. We go to the runs. Okay, we watch Fast and Furious, think we're cool. We go to Great Mall, watch the movie Fast and Furious, which I watched again last night. Love it. Rest in peace, Paul Walker. And everyone wanted to be Vin Diesel. It doesn't matter if you win by a mile or an inch, a quarter mile or an inch, or whatever he said. Winning is winning. Am I right? Yeah. Two Red Ring says, I went to Sakamoto Element. Did you really? You did not. You did not go to Sakamoto Elementary in San Jose. Did you really? That's pretty cool. So for those who don't know, yes, there's a Sakamoto Elementary School in the Bay Area. That's cool. Two Red Rings. That is really cool. So you must live off Capitol Expressway, Aborn area. See, I was looking at my analytics. A lot of you guys are from Los Angeles. A good portion of you guys are from Los Angeles. A good portion of you are from the Bay Area and Las Vegas. So those three are the hot spots. And it was interesting to me because with the Niners, it was Bay Area, not so much LA, because I think that territory is reserved for, the nation. It was it's random. It was so random. I think it was Bay Area, which is San Jose, Sunnyvale, Cupertino, Mountain View, San Francisco, of course. It was the Bay Area, Sacramento. I think Sacramento was like one of the spots that was like really hot for me and my following. Sacramento of all places. And then the other one was, it wasn't LA. It was San Diego. Maybe because I went to San Diego State. I don't know. But yeah, that was it. On to Six says, I wanted to be Hector. Oh, Hector's dope, bro. I like Hector. Two Red Ring says, yes, sir. San Jose, East Side San Jose. I got you. Oh, South Side San Jose. I see what you're saying. South Side San Jose. There you go. I'm from the East Side, bro. So you already know. You already know. Just like Jim Plunkett, you already know. I worked at he went to James Lick High School. I worked right across the street from James Lick, and people would get scared. There's some crazy stuff that goes down, by the way, in the East Side. Let me just tell you. I remember going to work one day. This guy had a barbed wire bat, started hitting the sheriff, and the sheriff's department's right next door on Alum Rock. Not kidding. And so I remember going to work one of these days, and I remember this because it was on a Saturday. Because I was in high school. I worked across the street from Peter's Bakery. And so I'm going to work. You know how you park back by behind the Planned Parenthood area? And I'm going to work, and I'm like, dude, what is going on here? And this I'm laughing. I shouldn't be laughing at this, but it was the gnarliest thing I've seen. And here I am in high school, right? A 17-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid witnessing a guy with a barbed wire bat. Okay, he had a barbed wire bat, and right behind the Planned Parenthood. Right, you guys know what I'm talking about. If you live in the East Side, you know this goes down all the time. So I'm not fazed by anything. Like I've been stabbed before, all this stuff, right? Like it doesn't faze me, right? People try to jack you, whatever. And so this dude had a barbed wire bat, and so he was screaming some stuff, and he must have been on something. And this lady sheriff had the what do you call it? The pepper spray. And she sprays him right in his eyes, and she's telling me to stay back. But I was like, dang, I gotta get to office. I can't be late for work, man. I start work at 12 o'clock, right? Because you guys know if you had O period, you get off work early, and then you can kind of take off high school in your senior year a little bit earlier. So that's cool, So I was like, okay, I'm going to work, and she's like, you got to step back. I was like, well, I gotta get to work. Like I'm gonna get in trouble. I gotta punch in. Like remember that. And my boss would get mad if I was a minute late. So I was like, I got to get to work. And she's like, no, it's okay. I was like, it's not okay because I'm going to get in trouble. And I was making good money back then. I was working at an insurance office. So I was like, oh man, I'm going to get in trouble. And he had a bat, and then she starts swinging at her. I was like, oh man, this is bad news. Like, oh, he means business. So I was like, okay, should I help her out or what? Like, where do I go from here? Right. And so like he's swinging at her, like taking chops at her. Like, and I'm like, what do I do? And then there's people watching, right? So it's not just me. There's a couple that was coming on Planned Parenthood. I remember they're just staring there. There's another big dude. This dude can look like he do damage. He was just standing there, kind of like watching, like he liked, like it's almost like he liked the engagement, like he liked that. And I was sitting there, I was like, is anyone going to stop this? But then I'm thinking, who are we going to call? Because that's the cop. Like in my mind, I'm thinking, what's going to happen? What's going to happen now? So he's swinging it. And the next thing you know, she sprays him with pepper spray, and he stops, and then he stops, and they just do a stare down, and then he starts walking towards her, and she goes, I need backup. The pepper spray did not faze him. I repeat, the pepper spray. I was like, this girl's dead. This sheriff is dead. And I was like, okay, well, I need to help her out. So my dumb butt was like, okay, I'm going to help her out, try to be the hero. Wasn't the hero. There's a little alleyway, and I kind of like, because she needed help. Like there's no way that she can survive this attack. So I was like, shoot, what do I do? So I just I don't know why I said this. I think I yelled out, hey, knock it off or something. And then his mindset was fixed on her, and all of a sudden got fixed on me. And you just see that his eyes were just so dilated. I was like, okay, my life is over. Happy to know you, Beast. Like, okay, good night. And so then I was really fast in high school. Like I could run like a 4.4. And so like, I was like, I'm going to outrun this dude because this guy is going to kill me. So I booked it, went into the office, locked the door, and we have bulletproof glass in front. So he tried to come in, couldn't. Yeah, the scariest moment of my life. Just want to share that story on the East Side San Jose. What goes down there is pretty crazy. It says Hofstadter and Morel. Oh, you already know, bro. You already know Hofstadter and Morel. I know exactly that's where the church is. I got a story about that church. You know that church? What church behind there on Morel? Because you probably went to Morel Middle School. You probably went to Morel Middle School, right? If I'm not mistaken, you probably went to Morel. and you went to Independence. Am I right or am I wrong? Oh, you might have went to Piedmont actually. Daniel Kim says, by the way, what was your comparison between Jack Campbell and Drew Sanders? Any other linebackers that caught your eye during tape review? That's both talent and scheme fit. Yes, I watched both film on them for you, Daniel Kim, because I know we talked about it last night. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about Jack Campbell out of Iowa and Drew Sanders and what they bring to the table. Both very different linebackers. I like Jack Campbell a lot. I also like Drew Sanders a lot. In fact, I am surprised they're not ranked higher on most people's big boards. How do I know they're big boards? I don't, but I'm just saying hypothetically, based on the mock drafts, you would think some of these guys would be ranked higher because it's not a good class for like wide receivers. It is a strong class for tight ends. Let's get Tucker Kraft. How about that? Write that down. I know Connie Carberg from the New York Jets, going off topic a little bit, but she'll be here in the DOB. She's the first NFL female scout, and she's one of my mentors. Me and Connie talk about scouting all the time when she's on. Good stuff. But no, Jack Campbell, again, a throwback for me in terms of what he brings to the table, like tough, instinctive linebacker, not the fastest guy. I'll just be 110% honest. He's not the fastest to read and react. But he makes the plays. Like it's funny, right? Like here, I'm just going to pull up some notes on him because I just want you guys to know that what I look for in a off-ball linebacker, right? Because there's different layers to this. And I think it's very important that you guys know the layers. Let me write this down. I'm pulling it up on my sheets here. Gosh, load. Maybe it's loading because I have StreamYard up or something. Gosh, load. What the heck? All right, so here we go. All right, so what do I like about Jack Campbell, right? Let's start with Jack Campbell since that's the first player that you mentioned. Jack Campbell, for me, again, he's a very tough, physical, instinctive linebacker, right? And the thing that I like about most when reading my notes about Jack Campbell's game is it's very similar to when I evaluated Chris Borland. And if you guys check the Beast receipts on Chris Borland, I thought he would be drafted by the Niners despite having Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman, 2 All-Pros. So again, the Beast receipts check out. And me and Chris Borland became very good friends after that, right? He calls me BEASTwriter. Yeah, for those Niner fans who know. That's the nickname he gave me because he's like, dude, your Beast receipts check out. Your nickname BEASTwriter. And his brother also follows me here on YouTube. So definitely keep in touch with he's very smart, by the way. But anyways, getting back to it. Reminds me a lot of him on a different scale, right? Because I think when you talk about a guy like Chris Borland, he was a little bit smaller. He reminded me more of a Zach Thomas type because he was shorter. He had shorter arms. And so, you can't draft this guy, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, man, this guy's going to be a all-pro player, like Pro Bowl player. I was like, Niners are going to draft him, watch. And to be honest with you, everyone gave me crap for it. All the Niner fans gave me crap for it, even though the Beast receipts checked out. Why? Because they were like, no, we have all-pros in Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis coming off all-pro seasons. We're not going to draft an off-ball linebacker. I was like, well, one, they play in a 34 base, right? 2, based on my analytics and, again, grading system, Beast receipts check out. I'm going to stick to my guns, say Chris Borland. What happened? I said, not only are they going to draft Chris Borland, they're also going to target Shane Scove out of Stanford. That's crazy. Now you're really reaching. Those same people literally flipped the switch and became loyal followers right after that because they were a firm believer. Like, wow, you were the only one that said that. Jack Campbell to me, all right, Jack Campbell to me reminds me and has those same NFL traits, but not as it's weird to say this. And because I think he's explosive, but not as explosive, if that makes sense. Like, I think Drew Sanders more explosive. If you're looking for an explosive playmaker, I think that guy's Drew Sanders. If you're looking at a guy that can cover on the second level, I would give Drew Sanders the edge. If you're looking for a pass rusher who can blitz off the edge or in certain fronts to kind of ward off like the quarterback and making his pre-snap reads, then Drew Sanders is the guy. The guy that can do more with less, with the versatility that he has in NFL traits, is Drew Sanders. Jack Campbell, to me, though, is a throwback linebacker. He might be 6'5", but he's very good at scraping down the line. What I mean by that is if there's a play going one way, he's very good at his run fit integrity. He's very, very disciplined. And that is something that is key in Coach Graham's defense, right? I talked about it with Coach Graham all the time. What is the difference between a good run fit guy and a bad run fit guy? Comes down to discipline, comes down to reading your keys, right? Down formation so you know how to leverage your split. If you're playing as a 3 technique, but you know it's going to be, the play's going to be spilled outside because it's an outside zone run based on that wide receiver going across the formation, and you watch enough game film, you can kind of split and cheat a little bit. So instead of being shrunk down to a 3, you might set up as a 4 to cover your bases. Do you understand what I'm saying? So knowing the game of box to spill, he does that better than Drew Sanders. All right. I'm just keeping him 100. But Drew Sanders, to me, if you're looking at it from a standpoint of versatility, I would give the edge to Drew Sanders. This is something that was very, very hard for me to pick on who I would rather have, because I think it really comes down to scheme fit and feel. And for me, if the Raiders had either one of these choices in the second round, I would be okay with, I would love that, actually. Not be okay. I would actually love any one of those two. And I think both those guys fit the Raider way. So hopefully that answers your question. Horse says, Beast, what rounds would you get a safety? I don't know about Merrick like him, but doesn't make plays. Don't know much about Epps, just that he's from LA. Great question. First of all, great question. Me and DK talked about this yesterday. I know you guys have these questions because DK sets me up for them. There's 48 of you guys watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what I have to say. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, you guys can do that through a super chat or super sticker. I'm just going to go ahead, and before I do that, I got to take a piss. I'm just going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and lie. We've been on for 2 hours and 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and put this up. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. I'll be hopping back on. It's really not going to be 5 minutes. It'll probably be like 30 seconds, but I'm just going to put this up. I'm going to step out a little bit and then take a piss, because your boy need to take a pee break. I'm just saying, like, I gotta take a pee break, bro. Like, hold on, bear with me for a second. All right, thanks for allowing me to take a pee break. This is a long live stream. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I got to take a pee. All right. What rounds would I take a safety? As far as Merrick is concerned, again, this beast receipt did not check out. I said Trayvon Merrick was going to have a Pro Bowl year last year. My bad. I'm sorry. That you were wrong, Beast. You were wrong. Love calling myself out when I get it wrong, just like when I get it right. Hey, proof's in the pudding. Can't say I didn't say it. I thought Trayvon Merrick had Pro Bowl potential and would make a Pro Bowl. I apologize. But no, getting back to your question, I think they would take a safety. The second part of your question, I would take a safety in the Well, again, we don't know how the draft board's going to fall, right? I would say third round, third or fourth round. I would take a safety, and the guy I would target is, well, I'll post that later on the guy I would target. Getting back to your final question about Epps, I like Epps. He can do a variety of different things. Now he does get beaten coverage a little bit, but he's very smart, very heady. I like the play, and he also makes a lot of tackles, right, in open space. So I think what you look for in Coach Graham's system again comes down to versatility, right? You can kind of pre-disguise formations and obviously pre-disguise false rotations from post-snap play, and so again, the quarterback is looking at the safety to see if it's two deep zone or single high safety zone or whatever zone it is, right? Based on the rules of engagement on the underneath. So a lot of different things, a lot of different layers. On to 6 row, let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby and get some snacks. Oh, man. Kevin Lurker says Campbell is number one in the 3-cone drill at his size. Yeah, the guy, I like Jack Campbell a lot. I also like Drew Sanders a lot. TN says we should pick up 2 linebackers. And do you guys want me to finish the mock draft? There's only 41 of you guys on here. But I can finish the mock draft if you guys want it. I wasn't sure if you guys still wanted the whole entire mock draft, but we can talk about it. All right, let's just talk about it because you guys want to know what's going on, right? You guys want to make some money. I like making money. Do you guys like making money? Whether you love me or hate me, you can't dismiss the fact that you love the color green. Everyone loves the color green. All right, Ted, we got a lot of yeses. Ted Cunningham says yes. Two-Ray Ring says, we want it. And Teddy says yes. All right. Here we go. I do offer you guys in the DOB. And again, we've been on for 2 hours, 10 minutes, and 53 seconds. If you like what I have to offer, please consider sending me a super chat. You guys can do that. It's a money icon here on this live stream. Or if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for Raider Germany. We have Germany fans in here. Raider Germany has been sending me super thanks. So obviously he's in a different time zone, and that's why I say special thanks because I know you watch all my stuff. So shout out to Raider Germany because he replays all my videos because again, we're on a different time zone. He lives in a different country. He lives in Germany, and he always sends me a super thanks. It means a lot, man. Those things really, really mean a lot. And so again, I always get back to the comments on the replays. That's what I said. The proof's in the pudding. I don't just say I do it and then not do it. You guys know I heart every comment, whether you agree with me or not, but rarely will you disagree with me, which is fine, right? I like disagreement too, right? Because I think it's healthy. As long as it's respectful. Don't be like, oh, I know more than you, blah, blah. Who's the beast, blah, blue. But anyways, no, thank you so much, Raider Germany. Just want to give that out of the way. All right. TN says, yes, Raiders mock draft. All right, here we go. So we're just going to round up the final mock draft when it comes to the first round. All right, so where did we leave at? We left out the Houston Texans, right? Going after, or not the Houston Texans, excuse me, the Atlanta Falcons taking Bijan Robinson. All right, so sitting there at 13, Brian Gutekunst from the Green Bay Packers, and people are like, oh, do you have a transcript on this? Yeah, I have a transcript of 5,000 1,000 words of exactly what I'm going to say. No, this is off the top of my head. There's no way I can do this. So the GM for the Packers is GM Brian Gutekunst. And if I'm not mistaken, let me just go back. I think the director of college scouting is Matt Malaspina, who used to be with the San Francisco 49ers. Let me double check that. And I saw him at a few pro days. Let me see what his title is now. He's been in the league. Dang, Matt Malaspina. Okay. Yeah, he is a director. Beast receipt checked out. He is the director of college scouting for the Packers. He likes speedy wide receivers, by the way. He likes those like AJ Jenkins. Oh, he runs a 4.3. He likes those Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Runs a 4.3. All right, so what do the Green Bay Packers do? What does Brian Gutekunst do? Well, he likes Georgia guys, right? His last 3 first-round picks came out of Georgia. So let's just continue the trend with Georgia products and get Nolan Smith, edge player out of Georgia. Why? Because they run a 3-4 base defense. If you follow my beast receipts, if you follow me in my pre-game, pre-NFL combine analysis, all right? If you're new to follow me, look at the timestamp of when I posted Nolan Smith's game film breakdown, what I said he would do, and how he would perform at the NFL combine. This was a week before the NFL combine took place, which is why I broke down Nolan Smith. Again, there's only a handful of hours for me to put up my beast receipts, but I'm going to pick out the bold ones that I think are going to be like, oh man, how did you know? Again, you'll notice I'll pick out certain players. And again, the reason why you follow me is to what? See what is in the future through that crystal ball, right? So I think Brandon Goodcunt is going to go ahead and take Nolan Smith at number 13. I really do. And I think when you do that, you're setting yourself up because you know Rashawn Gary is a free agent in 2024. He tore his ACL last year in week 9. So what does that tell you about Rashawn Gary, right? Is he able to not have arthritis in the affected knee? Because we know that 70% of all ACL injuries develop arthritis in the affected knee. We know this, right? I'm NASM trained. Bodybuilding, fitness, this is what I do, right? That's the other layer of what I do. So when I form my analysis, it kind of plays a role. So I'm not a team doctor. I'm not, whatever, but I know my shit, right? Let's just keep it 100. So I would say in my grading system on Nolan Smith before an NFL combine, I said I see a specific 3-4 weak side linebacker. You take away and use his speed to his advantage. People say, oh, he doesn't have good hand usage. So like DK pointed out, which is true, right? DK pointed that out. Daniel Kim did. And so I would say any coach would look at that and be like, yeah, we can work with his hands. A lot of college prospects win with speed, not necessarily with power. They don't have that speed to power conversion, although Nolan Smith is very strong in run fit integrity, despite being a smaller outside linebacker playing on the weak side. But that's where we see his fit. That's where I see his fit. And I think that's why Brian Gutekunst could take a risk on a Nolan Smith, right? He could take a risk on a Nolan Smith. And I know they have Preston Smith on the other side and that Zadarius Smith block. But at the end of the day, the year prior to that, but at the end of the day, you can never have enough good pass rushers. Because what did GM Ozzie Newsome say when he was the Baltimore Ravens GM? A necessity today could be a luxury today could be a necessity tomorrow. Right? We all learned this. So hopefully you learned something today from this. All right. Edgar Bernier says it's 5 a.m. in Germany. Is it really 5 a.m. in Germany? Jeez. Jorge says beast. Kevin Lurker says, I'm in Oregon. We're all about that green. Downkiss, all the beast riders and reporters jumped off, so they're missing out. Let me write that down. I know. Watch. Oh, people are going to formulate their mock drafts now. Watch this. I think that CJ Stroud's going to fall outside the top 5. Watch. Call him out. DOB Nation, call him out. Ted Cunningham says, beast receipt, Nolan Smith. Kevin Lurker says, because Nolan is super quick. That Ted Cunningham says, DK, yep. And that's the thing. Okay, so we it's funny, right? If you stayed in the chat, you're going to get some good information. If you stay out the chat and be like, oh yeah, he just talked about nonsense and then kind of cycled off. But once this live stream ends, I guarantee the views are going to go up because people are going to start talking. Maybe there's like one person in here who's going to like be like, oh man, you totally missed out on what B said. So we got to write this report today. We got to put this in print right now, right? Because no one wrote this yet. No one said that Derrick Henry was going to get traded to the Arizona Cardinals and DeAndre Hopkins would be part of that deal. And we didn't connect the dots that Rand Carthon played at Florida. So that's why he wanted Anthony Richardson, because he has that dynamic. And obviously he came from the 49ers, right? And he drafted Trey Lance, give it 3-round picks, right? And Monty also is the vice president of player personnel with the Tennessee Titans, right? Now the GM of the Arizona Cardinals, right? We got to connect dots. Man, Edgar Bennett says Nolan Smith's 40 time was nuts. It really was. All right, so here's a surprise pick at number 14. And again, I'm just being 100% honest with you. I suck when it comes to the New England Patriots pick. All right, I suck. When it comes to Bill Belichick, he shows me nothing. There is no analytics that I can get from Bill Belichick. Coach Belichick, I can't get anything from you. Thanks a lot. In fact, if I'm doing let's just go back. All right, let's just go back on the Packers. I do really well, right? Packers, I do pretty decent, right? So like last year, I got one of two picks correct, which is 50%. That's really good, right? If you actually know mock drafts, you know that's really, really good. In fact, if you get 35%, that's decent. Not great, but that's decent. All right. Look at the Patriots. I suck. I don't suck that much. I guess I got okay. I guess on the last 5 first round picks, I got the exact position that they would be targeting, just the wrong player. That's pretty dang good, right? The last 5 picks, I predicted the exact position that they would target in the first round, just the wrong player. So I guess I'm hard on myself. I don't know, but listen, the Patriots. This is what I think. Arkham Raider says, "Beast, thank you for providing great analysis. Appreciate all your hard work." All right, so this is what I have here, right? And so I look at the Patriots. I'm like, okay, what is Bill Belichick going to do? Because I can't gauge this guy. I mean, I come really close, get the position down the way he's targeting, but then this one I'm just like, man, like I don't know, man, because they have a plethora of different needs, right? That they can go in, right? I'm not going to release the needs because then you'll know what pick. And again, I'm not going to finalize my mock draft until Thursday. But here what I have, right? Here what I have. So New England Patriots are sitting there and they're like, man, we need to shore up our defensive front seven. Christian Gonzalez is sitting there now. All right. So Christian Gonzalez is not off the board. Right. And he's sitting there at 14. Do the New England Patriots go ahead and take a flyer on Christian Gonzalez? My question to you is he a scheme fit? And is Bill Belichick in favor of his tackling ability? I think he'll make a surprise pick, just like he did with Cole Strange, because I thought was a strange pick. I think Coach Belichick is going to go ahead, and this is crazy. All right, this is crazy. This is probably not going to happen. Just saying it, but I'm just spitting right now. I think he's going to take an off-ball linebacker in Drew Sanders out of Arkansas. I really do. Today. Now people can look at that. Oh, that's too high. Dude, Cole Strange was too high. Everyone was laughing at Cole Strange. Even the Rams GM Les Snead was and head coach Sean McVay were laughing at Cole Strange pick. They thought it was a strange pick. No pun intended. Daniel Kim says, facts. My brother poked the bear and the bear smacked them upside the head. Oh, all right. So here we go. There's 39 of you guys watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what I have to say. I'm checking the analytics right now, just making sure that we are in line. 39 is a lot. And we're just going to continue the draft because there's 37 of you guys. All right. So sitting there at number 15, right? New York Jets GM Joe Douglas, who comes from where? Baltimore Ravens, a lot of different other teams, right? So he learned a lot from GM Ozzie Newsome, right? What is he going to do? He's going to sit there and be like, okay, man, Aaron Rodgers needs protection. He needs an offensive tackle. Who are they going to get? Now, something tells me that Kalijah Kancey can be slotted here. And I'm not high on Kalijah Kancey as others. Now, I will say this. When it comes to Kalijah Kancey, I don't have a first-round grade on him. But I do know the Raiders do like him. Okay, I'm not going to sit here in line and say they don't like him. They do like him. I don't. So that's where, who's to say who's right, who's wrong? I guess the Beast receipt will check out in time. I'm not saying I don't like Kalijah Kancey. I just don't like him as a top 15, top 20 pick. I see more of a 28-32 grade, top of round 2. All right. Could the Raiders trade down and get Kalijah Kancey? That could be a real thing, right? There's different layers to where I would think they would value him at too. I see. There's this mock draft. I already have another mock draft in my head that I have on a separate sheet of paper, and then I have the final mock draft. There's A, B, and C. So what I'm telling you today probably be a lot different tomorrow. And so now people who are trying to write this down are going to look at this and be like, damn, I have to watch every freaking live stream this guy does. Well, yeah, because you're copying my work. You might as well just give me credit, right? Or at least make me some money, right? By watching it. Edgar Bria says Belichick goes defense or trades down. Absolutely. Absolutely. I thought that Belichick would take Khair Elam. I really did. I thought he was going to go take Khair Elam, but he went to the Buffalo Bills, of course. That's who I had him mocked last year. I like that guy when grading his film, by the way. All right, so sitting there, what do the Jets go after? They're going to go ahead and take, with the 15th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Broderick Jones, offensive tackle, Georgia. Aaron Rodgers is happy. Aaron Rodgers is happy about that. All right. There's 34 of you guys watching. If you guys like what I have to say, give this video a thumbs up. And again, I just want to give a special shout out to those who also sent me super chats. We've been on for 2 hours and 24 minutes and 33 seconds. So if you guys like the content that I provide and you would like to send me and show the support for me in the DOB and here in the Beast Nation, support the DOB family here with a super chat or a super sticker. I just want to give a shout out. I think I'm going to end this live stream because I got to eat my dinner now and watch more game film and formulate my mock draft and all that crap that you guys come to love. It's not crap. I love it. But thank you, the Nation Nightmare, for the super sticker. Really, really appreciate it. There's a handful of super stickers. We're growing, and I know we're growing because the super stickers are reflecting that. Rafael Martinez, thank you so much. He says, "Got your back, big dog." Daniel Kim, thank you so much. He says, "Bring it, Beast Raiders." G Money says, "Oh my God, it's happening. The mock draft." Kelly Joseph, thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really appreciate it. And scroll. We had so many comments in here. It's great. It's great. We had a lot of comments in here for us. A lot. It's scrolling so much. I'm scrolling through so many. I can't even get to them all. Hold on. Give me a sec. What is going on here? Wow. Oh, skip. Okay, here we go. I think this is it. I don't know. There's so many comments in here. I got to get to the super chats. Here we go. Thank you so much, Austin Martinez. Appreciate it. Thank you, K808, for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. D Menace in the house. Thank you so much. This Beast Nation is fire. You know, head. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. And again, nothing but good vibes only in here, guys. So again, I think we're going to end this live stream. We've been on for 2 hours and 26 minutes. If you're watching the replay and you want to send a super thanks, you guys can do that. It's just a heart icon on the bottom of the screen. You guys can send me that. Thank you, Raider Germany, for going ahead and do that. His name is Mika. Thank you so much, Mika. I really, really appreciate it. It's been a fun live stream. I'll be hopping on tomorrow for a Blitz pickup. My goal is to have a guest on, but since we're so close to the draft and there's so many things and questions you guys have for me personally, I'm going to not have a guest tomorrow. We're still going to have our Blitz pickup segment, but it'll just be me because I'm going to formulate my mock draft. And as you guys know, we had close to 100 people here on the live stream all at one time, right? I mean, and the reason is why did it get so big all of a sudden? Let me write this down. The proof is in the pudding. Come on. Let's keep it 100. But here in DOB Nation, we are growing. So again, we are on the road to 10K, right? We are trying to grow this thing to 10K. And so we are at 5,100 subscribers. You guys know what I bring to the table, but the nation does not know, right? The rest of the nation does not know. Beast Nation knows, but Raider Nation does not know about Beast Nation. So let's tell everyone about Beast Nation. Let them know you guys are on other content creators. So leave comments and be like, hey, go follow BEASTwriter for his beat writer reporting, right? Because I'm a beat writer. I'll be at Raiders headquarters. So be like, hey, this guy's going to be asking questions from the coaching staff to the GM to the players that get drafted on draft day on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. He's working there at Raiders headquarters because that's where he works Monday through Friday. Follow him. And they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to follow this guy. and I'll be posting videos exclusively from Raiders headquarters on who's there and who's not. Because I think that's really important. I think that's going to give everyone that I work with credibility, because everyone tries to act like they're there, but in reality, everyone's just going to do a reaction show from their home more times than not, right? And that's okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm saying then don't pretend like you're there. So that's the thing. It's like the beat writer perspective that I bring to the table, and I'm giving you guys a voice, giving you guys the platform. I think that's all about the good vibes only. So I'm going to go ahead and post stuff, and I might have a Q&A straight from Raiders headquarters. I might just do a Raiders Q&A live stream. Hey guys, here I'm at Raiders headquarters. This is what I think of the pick. What are your thoughts on that? Beast Receipt did not check out. I said Peter Skoronski. Obviously, they went defense. Time will tell. Time will tell. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I'm going to go eat some dinner right now. And then also get some rest. But before I do, you guys don't know. And if you're new to follow me, you don't know, but you guys already know how I do that. So again, I don't think it's going to be team no sleep up until the draft and then after the draft. So really, really excited about the draft because you guys want me to get it right. And I have that expectation for me. So if I don't get it right, that's on me. That's my bad. And people will be like, no, you're being hard. No, that's on me, bro. Like, I hate getting things wrong. I hate it. Hate's a strong word. I hate it. Why? Because you can follow anyone else who gets it wrong. I need to get it right more times than not. Luckily, the Beast Receipts check out. So again, thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm going to hop off right now and we'll be back on tomorrow. So again, tell all the nation, all your family and friends, tell a friend to tell a friend to follow me here at Beast Nation, here in the dark side of BEASTwriter. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good night. BEASTwriter out.